Check. Go ahead and check again.
Check.
All right, we're live.
We're working,
Yeah, dude.
moving and grooving.
Oh, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, it's my pleasure. Olle Ryder.
Yeah. Dude, I found out.
What?
I got a boot a while back because in the system in Chicago, they had my name flipped.
Yeah.
So whenever I type in my license plate, my last name, which is Olle, it wouldn't come up because they had my name flipped in the system. So I had tickets from like a year ago.
That's brutal, dude.
I had like $700 in tickets.
I was literally driving yesterday thinking about that because you told me at Easy.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, dude, I cannot imagine.
Dude, it was a real bummer.
Also, what's it like to go outside and see a boot on your car? That's like a movie scene to me. Night at the museum, you just go outside and you're like, fuck.
It was very much that. And then today on the way here, one of the reasons I was late is I threw a fucking tantrum because I go outside and I thought I saw a ticket on my car. And I was like, no way. And I literally stood there just like screaming for 5 minutes. And then I realized there was a different car. It wasn't my car.
That's great.
Like, oh, thank God.
That's awesome.
Well, I have notes for you.
You have notes?
Yeah, for your podcast.
Oh, I like this.
Way to fix it.
Oh, thank you, dude.
My first note
the podcast
is...
needs fixing.
My first note was, have you considered getting a different host?
Yes, I have. I've been trying to convince Sam Beer to take over the pod. He won't fucking do it. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I didn't actually have any notes. I just thought that would be funny to say.
I was excited for that.
The only other note I had is intros.
Yeah, I don't do intros.
Well, no. I want to do my own intro.
Oh, yeah, please do.
All right. I'll get it started, and then I'll leave, and you can...
Yeah, because I want to tell you about my tantrum yesterday.
Oh, yes, please do.
I threw a tantrum. But first the intro for Ryder Olle. Is this a song? Dude, yes. I can't afford a song.
No, just it's fine. It doesn't need to be the whole thing.
Hey, yo, man. Damn, what's taking homie so long, son? Calm down. My back on the wall, now you don't see. Better watch how you talk when you talk about me. Cause I'll come and take your life away. Many men.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what my walk-in song would be?
What?
The Devil is a Lie by Rick Ross.
That's a good one.
Pretty fucking sick,
right?
That's
a sick one. My walkout song, I was doing a bunch of shows with Dan like a long time ago. And we both just kept trying to pick like the heaviest rap we could find. Like I was doing 03 Greedo has this song about how he hates being famous and he misses trapping. The whole song
something that you can relate to.
Yeah, just about how he's like, dude, being a pimp was so much cooler than being famous.
That's funny to come out to just a super hard rap song.
Yeah.
Then walk out and be like, what's the deal?
Zach used to come out to, there was this intro for a song, where it goes, your mama's on crack rock. It's like little kids singing that for this
awesome.
intro, so you should just come out to that.
I guess you really can pick any song you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Same Love by Macklemore.
That's pretty sick.
My dream is that, because I worked at the Improv for a little bit, and I got to see when a black comic was there, it was like an all-black room. My dream is to like feature for that room and have my walkout song be like a Macklemore song.
That's pretty good.
And just immediately dig myself in a hole and then be like, all right, let's get out of this.
Yeah, come out like that's the greatest rapper alive, right?
Yeah.
You guys hear that?
I used to have a joke where I like listed the greatest rappers ever, and it was just all white people and Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. That's great. What was the tantrum you had?
I was filming lacrosse in Caneland, Illinois yesterday, and then on the way I had
just for personal use.
Personal use. I like to visit every high school in Illinois, get some game film. Dude, I actually pitched to Matt and Drew. We were all high in the car, and I was like, we like passed a baseball field on Western, and I was like, do you guys want to get high and go to like high school sporting events? And they were like, no. I thought it was so funny. I also thought it would be fun to just get like obliterated.
It would
be super fun. Not a girls one, obviously.
You can't do that.
No, that would be fucking weird.
It's too risque.
No, you go middle school, elementary school.
And it can't be like the soccer team. You got to pick the ugly. You can't be the handsome.
It's got to be
boys.
like the bowling.
Yeah, you can't pick a one full of handsome boys, or you're also in trouble.
Yeah.
Go to wrestling meets, middle school wrestling meets. Is
Wrestling
nuts.
meets is bad. Who do you know here?
Yeah. No, I used to in college when I was in Baton Rouge. We would go to high school games.
That's kind of fun.
We
Were
would
you
just
guys-
get like fucked up
Yeah.
and go watch a high school football because it's the South, so their football's like pretty good even in high school.
That's sort of like North College level football.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like the
exactly.
amount of like fans that they have at each game and everything.
Texas ones are crazy.
I've seen videos of like Texas Friday Night Lights high school games.
Dude,
Bananas.
it's no joke. They have stadiums.
Yeah, they have full stadiums, and then
Yeah.
they play their state championship in AT&T Stadium, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The like
High school kids shouldn't be able to experience something so cool.
Yeah, there's a school outside Austin called Westlake.
Mm-hmm.
It's where Drew Brees went to school and stuff.
Nice.
Gigantic, and yeah, they have like a stadium. It's like bigger than a lot of college stadiums. It's pretty nuts.
I can't imagine. That's like being in the Coliseum. That's why I don't perform at stadiums.
Yeah.
Because it takes a long
It's
time.
not intimate enough.
Anyway, so I was filming at this high school. The boys did well. I don't know. I don't remember the score, but
But they looked good.
they
dude.
looked great. And I probably can't be saying that, but so I hadn't eaten since breakfast, which was around noon, which is sad. But it was like 8 p.m. and I was like, I'll hit a Jimmy John's with a drive-through on the way back, which is like the greatest gift from God, is a Jimmy John's with a drive-through, because it is truly freaky fast. And then I I ordered roast beef and they gave me tuna,
Oh no.
and I lost it. And I had like really bad anger problems when I was little, and I really don't ever bubble up ever now.
You
but
seem
it'll
like
be the
someone that
little
used to
thing
have
that just
serious
push
anger
it. Yeah,
problems.
yeah.
You have that
Do I?
vibe of like, yeah, like too controlled, where it's suspicious. I'm like, where you're clearly using tools.
I'm actively workshopping how to not freak out.
Yeah, like someone says something mean to you, and I can see you like counting back from 10, being like 10, 9.
It's because they're insecure with themselves.
Yeah.
I sort of do that. Yeah, I used to kick shit a lot. My parents called me the donkey. But,
Oh really? Did you actually like have serious
Yeah.
anger
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah,
as a
yeah.
kid? Oh, okay, cool.
And I was a horrible sport. I broke lacrosse sticks because I'd let in a goal and I'd fucking slam it against the post and break it in half and shit.
But that's goalie shit. You're
Yeah, I
supposed
was
to
I was
do
also
that.
just a head case in general. But I mean, I realized how little of a thing it actually takes to push me over the edge, because I went from like, I was like, I'm taking my time going to Jimmy John's. I'm going to get my sandwich. I'm going to cruise into the city. I'm not in a rush. And then they fucked up my sandwich, and I was like this close to just throwing it out my window on the highway. I was like slamming my steering wheel.
Yeah.
I was screaming fuck. I was just so fucking angry. And I was like, all it took was a Jimmy John's order.
By the way, that's not a little thing. Roast beef to
Thank
tuna
you.
is
Thank
a
you, by the way.
big-
And by the way, the tuna was pouring out. So when
Yeah.
I opened it on the highway, I got tuna in my
Juiced.
lap. And the juice. No one talks about the tuna juice.
No, dude,
God.
you're not wrong. If it had been like a roast beef and they'd given you like even turkey,
I could take that. I could
because
take
it's like
that.
it's still a lunch meat.
Exactly. It's simple. There's not a lot going on.
But that'd be like ordering a roast beef and getting like a meatball marinara. It's like, whoa, dude, these are vastly different.
Yeah, it was really, and it was also $20. I got a giant fucking disaster.
Did you eat it or did you not even eat
No, I'm like one of those people who I'm such a picky eater that I can't eat stuff I don't like. I can't force stuff down my throat
Oh,
unless
really?
it's a cock.
it? You don't
but
like tuna?
No,
Really?
no,
That's my Subway order.
really.
Because on the road for work, we're on the road all the time, and it's the only thing my boss will eat.
Mm-hmm.
My boss is like a really picky eater. Like, he's never had tacos, which is insane to me.
I've maybe had tacos twice.
Yeah, not a fan.
No, they're good. I don't really
Yeah,
stumble
he
into
doesn't.
taco joints.
He doesn't do anything like that. And
because
so
they always put extra shit in.
yeah, he only eats Subway when we're on the road.
That's incredibly not healthy.
Yeah. Well, you know, in his defense, when he started playing, the dude's like 70. Subway did used to be a pretty healthy alternative
That's true.
to fast
Subway
foods.
changed on him.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
change on Subway. He's
Good for
been
him for
an-
staying loyal. Actually, that
OG.
changed my mind.
He was like, fuck the cases.
Wait, so when he started playing,
Yeah, he's been playing since he was like 12.
where does he play?
He's a blues guitarist.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And he makes a living doing that?
He's been a professional for 50 years, something like that.
So you're touring with him?
Yeah, that's what I do for work.
Dude. Do you feel like you've made it?
Sometimes, and then sometimes you're like, well, it's kind of like what all comics talk
Yeah, I
about.
was just going to say comedy.
It's like they kind of talk about the same thing where it's like, you know, you have one night where it's this amazing show at this awesome venue, and the next night you're playing at like a barbecue restaurant.
Uh-huh. But you get free barbecue, right?
Sometimes they don't include food, which I think is kind of
That is fucked up.
whack. Yeah, but you know, like we were doing a series of shows the other day when we were in Canada, and we were doing this place called Rose and Crown, which is like this cool bar in a ski town in Canada. And shout out to Rose and Crown.
Shout out Rosencrown.
Sweet venue.
Great place. Good
And
skiing.
we played like 2 great shows there. Then the next night we're playing at like literally a diner.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a little bit like, and it was like the next night we had to leave Rose and Crown at 2 a.m., get up at like 7 a.m. to drive there. We drove for like 6 hours, then have to set up and play immediately.
Yeah.
So we're going off like 4 hours of sleep after these great shows, and then it's just us with 4 people, and now we have to play for 4 hours.
4 people?
Yeah, like 4 people in the room, basically.
But how is it compared to stand-up where, like, stand-up, I feel like you need them to be paying attention? For when you're playing music, are you kind of able to just be like, they're doing their own thing and we're doing our own thing?
Yeah, you can a little bit more, but it's hard.
Why?
Because it hurts.
Oh, just because they don't give a shit?
Because they don't care.
And you're, like, going all out?
And, like, there is that, you know, as corny as it sounds, there is, like, the you feed off the crowd type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that still with stand-up. The only difference with stand-up is that if people are talking, you literally can't get the words out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a literal audio issue. It's not... Whereas with music, obviously, you can play louder than most people talking. But we've definitely had shows where, like, that's really distracting. There's one venue I love called Byron's in Pomeroy. Shout out Byron's.
Shout out Byron's.
That's, like, my favorite venue in the world.
Why?
Because the owner's just a great dude. He's this great guy that lives out in this small town, Indiana, called Pomeroy.
Shout out Pomeroy.
No, that town sucks.
Fuck Pomeroy.
Yeah, but he's just like this old hippie that's had this venue forever, and people drive like we have people that'll drive like 6 hours to come to shows there, and he actually will kick people out if they're talking
I
during
like that.
shows. Yeah,
I was gonna
he
ask
just
what
walks
makes a
up to
good owner.
people. Yeah, he just walks up to people and be like, "You have to stop talking," like during shows.
One warning?
Yeah, he'll give them maybe 1 or 2, but yeah, he'll just kick them out. It's pretty sick. It's a pretty
beautiful.
sick move.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, and he's a great guy, and his partner makes sweet tie dye. He bought so
I didn't know where that was going
Yeah.
after sweet, and then we got to
he's like an
tie-dye.
old deadhead, and he bought. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
some dead up there.
Oh yeah,
He
my roommate's a big deadhead.
he used to have this building, and it got like condemned, and the town Pomeroy is like this backwater, racist, homophobic, and he's gay.
Yeah, I take my shout out away.
Yeah, yeah. And so they were always like shitty to him. And even though like if you bring up people that know music, people know Byron's, they don't know Pomeroy. Like he literally brings that town money
That's cool.
with his venue. And they were screwing him over and wouldn't let him like re-sign his lease because they condemned his building and all this stuff. So he just bought their old town hall.
Whoa,
And
that's
now
a
that's
sick
his
move.
new venue. Yeah.
That is so cool.
It's so sick.
Oh, my, I hope that they let them know it was sold during a meeting.
Yeah.
Like they were like voting on something, and then like a Monopoly man came in,
Yeah.
and he was like, "This is sold to the
Yeah.
highest bidder." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
So that town hall is Byron's now.
Yeah, I think it's like their town hall or their old like town center, something like that, like
Oh, that's
Center
so
Center.
cool.
It's like a old town, kind of like a. It looks like it used to be, you know, like a convention, like a meetup. You know, you can have a prom party or something
Sure.
there.
Bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah.
Bat mitzvah if,
wanna
if
go
you're feeling
crazy.
freaky.
Yeah. Never been to a bat mitzvah. Been to
Really?
a bar mitzvah.
That makes sense.
Never been to a bat mitzvah.
You seem like someone with male Jewish friends,
Yeah.
not female.
No. Well, I'm hoping to play the long game with the female Jews.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope that I marry a female Jew.
Really?
Yeah. I want a
Why?
woman to boss me around.
You just like Jewish women?
Yes. Yes. There's a host Never mind. There's a Chicago comedy host who I'm very attracted to.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Just the demeanor and the
Yeah, we'll go with demeanor.
Yeah.
Not the sweet ass.
Oh, damn it. All right. I'm sorry. We're talking about Drew Gregory. The
Is
Lotties,
Drew Jewish?
The Lotties. He has a big nose. No, I don't think so. No.
He's too tall.
Shit, I always forget, dude. Yeah. Yeah, he's a very tall guy.
Oh, what is this? You're not Jewish, are you?
I'm 5%.
So no.
Fiscally.
Fiscally.
What I was going to ask is, like, what's the difference?
I vote Jewish.
That's hilarious. Yeah. If there were a Jew running for president, even if the other guy had a lot of good points, I'd be like, no, I got to go with the... Well, which I always think about with women, by the way, where it's like, if there's a woman running for president and you're a woman, I sort of am like, why wouldn't you just vote for them anyway?
Yeah.
Just to get one of yours in the White House before the world ends.
Because that's not how women think. They think, oh, that bitch thinks she can be president.
Fuck that bitch.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
She's got fucking tacky shoes. That's how.
Pantsuit, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Good choice. What was I gonna say? Oh, what's the difference between like a room that's good for comedy and a room that's good for music? And is there any overlap?
There's a lot of overlap. It depends on the kind of music, I think. So, like for my blues band, we can kind of play in a lot of different rooms.
Uh-huh.
Because we're just designed to play at a bunch of different levels. But like my metal band, for example, you kind of want to be like in a basement and when I used to be in punk bands, you want to be like in a comedy room where low ceiling, super tight, just so that it's loud and sweaty and like that's what you want. You don't want to be like in a theater.
Theater.
Yeah, it feels kind of awkward.
Have you played in a theater?
Yeah.
What's that like?
That's really cool. It's super fun. It's a lot less like... You know, as you can imagine, there's no like intimacy to it. And it's really hard to hear like crowd reactions. It must be devastating when you do stand up. I was actually talking to Mike Myers about that the other day, and he just did some theater shows, and he had the same issue with stand up where you just can't hear the crowd. Like you finish a song and you're like, nice, that was sweet, and you hear like barely clap, and then you get off stage and people are like, oh, people were freaking out, but you can't hear it.
That sucks.
So it's the same thing with stand-up where it's like Mike thought he like bombed a show because like, you know, you can't really hear it, and then it comes back to you and you hear it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like later someone was like, no, you did great. He was like, oh, sweet.
I would have thought you could still hear... I would have thought it would be like a roar.
No, I mean... Sometimes, like if they're really into it and it's
I guess
full,
it's room to room too.
Yeah, it's just harder to, and you can't see them. Like you don't realize how much of your gauging of an audience's response is based off their look.
Yeah, and you like make eye contact with people when you're at like the Lincoln Lodge and stuff. Same with Zanies when they're like in the very front row. You're like looking into people's souls.
Yeah, and that's the thing with stand up too. That's like. Was kind of a cool realization is that exact thing where everyone likes to imagine that all they do is they listen for the audience response, and not really, because a lot of the time some people don't laugh hard. Like I find it's a lot better to just look at them.
Put
you know what
pressure
I
on
mean?
them?
And like look at someone, and you can see that maybe they're not going but
they're smiling
they're
or something.
enjoying it.
Yeah,
and then that can kind of you're like, oh okay, like
yeah.
I get what's happening.
Like last week for a roast battle, there was a joke that I said, and like, I'd say like 70% of the room was laughing. And then I looked at the girls in the front row, and they weren't laughing, but they were like smiling, shaking their heads, and I was like, I'll take that.
Yeah,
that's fine. As long as your boyfriend is laughing, that's all I need.
What was the joke, if you don't mind?
The joke was, it was roasting Drew, and it was Drew's least favorite question is when people ask if he played basketball because he has to explain to them that he's deathly afraid of black guys. and then it was like half, and it was like pretty good, but then some of the people like pulled back a little, and I was like, because they play basketball. And then that got a big pop too.
Yeah, that's fun. Roast battle's fun, man. They do a good job with that.
Yeah, I make people uncomfortable on stage. I was watching a comic recently at a pretty nice venue, and they were just like staring like a robot, just like over the head of the crowd. And they were sort of like just like I'm looking over here, and then I'm looking over here, and then I'm looking over here again. And it seemed very impersonal. And
Yeah, that guy took a public speaking class.
Girl.
And has stage fright.
yeah, maybe.
I like because musicians do that. I know some musicians that do that. That's honestly I was kind of joking, but sincerely, that's probably exactly what it is.
Wait.
She has like serious stage fright,
And
that's like techniques they teach you in public speaking courses.
did you ever get stage fright?
You
don't strike me as somebody that has stage fright.
Not really. I don't really get stage fright. I get it with my blues band.
Really?
But it's more about because they're so good.
Okay.
That they recognize anytime I make a mistake. So it's more about like fear of that than like, oh, the crowd's not gonna like it.
Yeah, you're in a team.
Yeah,
and that's different.
And, that's why I think you have a lot of comics that used to play music and now don't. Is it's a lot harder. I never thought about because I've always been able to just be in bands, but I have drummer friends that are like great drummers that have never been in a band.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to like put together.
I saw a scene from Freaks and Geeks where his like dream is to be a drummer, and then he tries out with a band, and they're all just like staring at him like, what is this guy doing? And I didn't really understand it because I'm not a drummer. I don't have a good ear. And then I looked at all the comments, and it was all these drummers and musicians talking about how different it is playing by yourself and playing with others.
Yeah.
And how when you're playing with others, you have to like be completely in sync with them, and it's just. A lot of people are saying, like, I have this one friend, he's the best drummer I know, can't play with other people.
That happens a lot with, like, really
Which is very interesting.
Yeah, it happens a lot with really good, really good players.
Yeah.
People who are, like, hyper fixated and amazing, they tend to not be great, like, in an act. It's a whole different skill. It'd be like the difference between, like, writing and performing stand-up. Like those are two vastly different things. And
took me a while to learn that.
Yeah, and we know people that are great at writing.
I thought
jokes.
I could just write.
Yeah, I thought I could just perform for a long time.
Dude, I've had this conversation with so many people where they're always like, me and Kaylee Horton had the same thing where she was like, I have the opposite problem as you do.
What do you write a lot? Are you good at?
I feel like, especially in the beginning. Well, now I'm in a spot where I feel like I'm not good at either because my writing is not as good. But I used to just sit down and write for like hours, and then I would go up on stage. But you could tell that I was reading off in my head exactly what I had written, so it sounded like a TED Talk, like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I'm like the opposite, where I'm just like performing, but I don't really have substance to my stuff.
Yeah,
but,
it's a hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard. But also, sometimes things without substance is fun.
It is fun, and then, yeah, you'll watch comics, and you'll be like, I don't really know why that's funny, but it is very funny. And you can also experience how different crowds' reactions are when you have a lot of energy, and they're feeding off your energy, and you're like, so maybe this isn't fully about what I'm saying, it's about how I'm saying it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely elements of that. And then there's... I think people like to imagine that, like, the jokes speak for themselves. Again, same thing in music, where it's like people want to pretend like the music speaks for itself. But the truth of the matter is, like, it doesn't. And crowds, like, even music, which is something that everyone knows pretty well. I would say comedy people know way less than they know music.
Oh, yeah.
And even with that, like, people don't know music.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like you have to be you have to be so terrible before an audience is going to recognize that you're terrible, but you don't have to be that bad before they feel it.
Interesting. Okay.
Right? So it's like it's
kind of like
they just kind of have
stage.
like a feeling to bad music, but they wouldn't go like, "Oh, the drummer sucked," or "The bassist was out of time," because they don't know why. They can just feel that it's kind of That's why like the music does speak for itself. If you see bad bands, people will leave, but they don't know like. Hey, this band sucks.
They're just like, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I'm not feeling this. It must not be my kind of music. And it's like, no, this band just isn't very good. And you just don't like them.
And it's like a group entity that you're blaming, I guess.
Yeah.
As opposed to a comic, you walk out, you're like, I just don't like that guy.
Third note for the podcast.
Go ahead.
this is a horrible seating arrangement.
Dude, people don't like the couch.
It's insane.
Why?
Because it's cranking my neck, dude.
Yeah, you keep changing positions.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable. My
yeah.
back's all messed up, too. I hurt my back
What I want to
super
do
bad.
is I want to get like a Conan desk and then a chair and then I need an Andy Richter.
Yeah,
and
that's
then I'll be
hilarious
set.
in your living room.
Yeah, wouldn't that be funny?
Of your, what is this, a 1-bedroom apartment?
2.
Ooh, big boy.
Well, I have a roommate.
Big bowler.
Shakala. Yeah, I mean I have a roommate.
Only one roommate? Ooh.
Yeah, I asked my uncle when I was in like 7th grade because I used to before I wanted to do stand up I wanted to be the Tonight Show host. That was my dream, dude.
Yeah.
I used to like write monologues, and then go into class and perform them like on index cards.
That's awesome.
And
Were they good?
some of them were not bad, dude. Some of them were not bad. I remember one of them was like, the age. This is in like 20. There was something happening with Russia and Ukraine again, or before this current thing. But I said like the age-old question of why the chicken crossed the road has finally been answered because it was being trailed by a Russian tank. I said that to like a bunch of 15-year-olds who were like, I don't understand.
That's
But my
pretty
teacher
good.
was like, it's pretty.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But yeah, I wanted to be Conan. That was all I wanted to be. But my uncle is a carpenter, and he asked all of us. He's like, if you want anything for Christmas, out of wood. And I was like, could I get like a late night desk? And he was like, are you out of your fucking mind? It's like 600 pounds and like $20,000. 10 out like
Can I get
100.
a late
Yeah.
night desk?
I had no idea how ridiculous that was, but
That would be sweet if you just had a like
you
a
walked into my
single
living
person
room,
desk. in
no
here.
TV, no dining room. I just eat dinner on my late
Yeah.
night desk. Yeah,
That's sick.
that would be cool.
There was that's an old like musician starving artist story. Is that they live in like a loft with just their instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do that in Whiplash.
That's
He's
my
got
favorite
his
movie,
bedroom
dude.
and then there's
Yep.
just like a drum set in it.
Yep. Well, I always think about that with comedy. Like, why don't I just fucking build a stage in here? I could put a
Yeah.
spotlight right there. Apartment show 2.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just completely live by the art.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think I would just get sad. I think I need other things.
Well, I think if you do that, you start having to run into the Bo Burnham thing, where all
What's
your
that?
jokes, you have no lived life.
Yeah.
All your jokes have to become about joke making. It just becomes
Very
like way
meta.
too meta, way too
Yeah.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
then you're
gotta
just sitting there
experience stuff
talking about like a joke that's about a joke.
That's about a joke.
Yeah, it's just like, whoa, dude. We wanted to hear you talk about like relationships.
Totally.
What's up with your bitch girlfriend? Tell me about that story.
Yeah, because I got a bitch girlfriend.
Because I got a
And I can't complain about my bitch girlfriend, but if I hear you complain about your bitch girlfriend and I laugh in front of my bitch girlfriend,
she'll take the
we
hint.
could both sort of bond over this, and then later she'll be like, were you laughing? Yeah.
Why were you laughing so hard at the part when he brought up his bitch girlfriend?
Tosh will do things on stage where he'll make a joke about women, and then like the men won't laugh, and he'll call it out and and make them uncomfortable, and I fucking love that, dude.
Yeah, I think that's always a good move. Make your audience uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then bring it back. You got to bring it
Bring it
back. But, make them uncomfortable.
I one time did an open mic alone. Did I ever tell you about this?
No. What do you
it
mean
was back
alone?
when Lincoln Lodge. Shout out Lincoln Lodge.
Shout out Lincoln Lodge.
Shout outs. Back when Lincoln Lodge was doing like every day they would have like a 4 o'clock mic.
Oh, I would kill for
Remember like right after COVID?
That's before my time.
Oh, so like right after COVID, they did a thing, and it was Lincoln Lodge had kind of moved or something recently. I don't know, and so they were needed business, and so after COVID, they started doing like 5 p.m. mics every single day, and then they would have like 2 or 3 more mics.
That's so awesome.
So you could stay there and do like 5 mics in a night,
That's
just
amazing.
there. It was crazy. But anyways, one time I showed up to the 5 o'clock and just nobody else was there. And I can't remember who was bartending at the time, but I was just like, this was early on. I had just started.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, so no one's coming? Like the host didn't even show up. Like just no one showed up. Just me. And he was like, well, you can like go do it, I guess. So I just went in
Empty
to
room?
the little room and just did my set alone in the empty room.
Oh, I would love to see that set to like classical music and
Oh
slow
yeah,
motion.
it's sad. It's dark.
Did you get anything out of it, do you think?
Yeah.
Because I'll walk around with the mic sometimes. It sort of does help.
My memory is horrible.
Okay.
So anything I could do to practice just getting through stuff is really good. Because I actually write. It hopefully a compliment to me, but a lot of people are surprised. I actually write every word of my jokes.
Well, I remember you told me outside of Easy Bar when I was only a couple months into comedy. You told me you were like, so you left your notebook at Easy Bar and you're like, oh, that's my notebook, and somebody was like, you write?
Yeah,
you write stuff down?
That happens to me a lot. People are like
so
shocked. They're like, you write? And I'm like, yeah, every word I'm doing. Like I'll write in the butt. You know how I do a lot of like, oh, dude, I was.
Yeah.
I'll write that in. Like it's in my jokes. It'll say like but or an I'll like write in my ums too.
You write in the ums. I put those in naturally.
Yeah, I don't because I'm a professional. Yeah, no, that's happened a few times. It's pretty insulting. You write? I didn't. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like I mean, you could take that as a compliment.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm so natural on stage.
So you played lacrosse, right, in college?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Elmhurst University.
Is that a good lacrosse school?
The U. Well, right now they're top 20 in the nation. But when I was there, we were like probably like top 50.
That's good.
I mean, they're good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You played goalie, right?
I was a goalie.
Why? They just didn't let you do anything else?
Well, I mean, you play goalie before you get to college. You don't get there and they're like,
yeah.
goalie.
It's like an elementary school. Like they're just like, oh, put that one in goalie. He's weird.
When I was in third grade, I started playing in third grade. And then in like fifth grade, I was playing midi. And I stepped in front of a shot. Our goalie sucked. And he was like afraid of the ball. And I stepped in front of a shot, and it dented my shaft. And I remember I looked at my shaft, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And literally, like, the next day, I was like, I want to play goalie.
Oh, really?
But then I was, like, a huge pussy for a while, up until, like, 8th grade, and I didn't really take lacrosse seriously. I remember, like, the kids on my team made fun of me. I, like, vividly remember this kid shot on me, and I ducked my head and closed my eyes. And he was like, Harry just closed his eyes. What the fuck? And then my mom was like, you can either quit or like really try to get good at this. And I was like, I guess I'll try to get good.
Oh, that's a good mom.
Yeah, I have a great mom. And then all of a sudden, and then also she was like, because I had to sign up for travel ball, and she was like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna play in college, right? And I was like, yeah, I'll get there. And then of course with recruiting, I was a fucking nightmare. But
how do they recruit for lacrosse? What do they do?
You just do tournaments.
Show you the potential rape victims. They're like, you have this one if
Would you
want
like
it.
this?
Yeah.
Or maybe
look at all these.
Dude,
Yeah,
I had a running bit that I used to tell people, which I don't do anymore. But I used to tell people that you know what Title IX is?
Yeah.
So we used to do Title IX training. That was mandatory. Like all the guys had to like go through this whole thing. It was just basically you like sat in a room and watched a video. And it was like, did this guy who raped this girl do the right thing? And then there was actually an incident one year where a wrestler was like, I could sort of see his perspective. And we were all like, dude, stop it. you know what you're supposed to answer to this.
Like, sometimes bitches do be tripping, kind of.
He was like, she did kind of lead him on. And we were like, stop it, man. But
he was drunk too. I don't see what.
I used to tell people that like we had, because we're the lacrosse team, we had like really ramped up Title IX training, and they did this thing where at the beginning of my freshman year they assigned us each one freshman girl, and all we had to do was not rape them, and we all failed. Which is obviously not true. Only a few guys.
That's funny. Yeah. What is recruiting for lacrosse like?
Yeah, I mean, you play summer ball. You send them your highlight tape from high school, but it's mostly they see you at tournaments.
Okay,
and then
so
they
go
email
to like
you.
the tournaments and kind of
Yeah, like my coach saw me in Delaware. I know the exact game. I know the exact spot he saw me.
Did you ball out at that game?
Honestly, I remember I had like a decent game, but I didn't play great. I remember when I was getting recruited, I just like also I was a really late bloomer physically and in terms of taking lacrosse seriously and just getting into all that and like being good at it. So I was like, maybe I won't even make it. But then I sort of hit my stride junior, senior year, but that's still late for the recruiting process. But I remember after the game, I was like, yeah, that was good. Nothing like special. And every single time I had a really good game in summer ball, it would be like one of those tournaments where there was like no coaches on the sideline.
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
like parents and stuff. And they'd be like, you're the MVP. And you'd be like, it doesn't, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just was like, I had a good game, I guess. And then I wasn't even like on top of recruiting. I didn't think about college at all. It was such an afterthought because I was sort of like, I want to be a stand-up comedian. Even though I hadn't really put that into words yet, I didn't want to take anything seriously. And then my mom took my laptop and she was like, this Mark Morrell guy really likes you and he's in Chicago. And I was like, eh. And then she was like, how about this? We'll just visit Chicago just because it's like a cool city and we've never been there. We'll visit the school, no pressure, just see if we like it. And we went there. That was the one college visit I went on, and I just committed like that day.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And I had a steak that night in like downtown in Chicago at this steakhouse called Rosebud. And my mom just like as I like cut this filet mignon open, and my mom was like, "So you wanna just do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's just do it."
Yeah, that's sweet.
Turned out to be pretty good.
That's sweet. Yeah.
Even though I got injured my senior year, and it's my 9/11.
You got injured your senior year.
I broke my hand my senior year.
Were you just about to like start?
I was starting. Yeah.
When did you start starting?
Well, I mean, I started at the end of my freshman year. There was like a goalie carousel, and I got thrown in for the last 7 games of the year. We got to the conference championship. It was like super cool. I was high on life. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're the starter for the next 3 years." And then I won the starting job the next year, but I was like super not confident in myself. A lot of self-doubt. I got pulled the first game, and then 4 games later, COVID ended our season. Junior year, I went snowboarding, and I injured myself out basically the entire season. Senior year, people didn't even think I was going to win the starting role because I hadn't even been playing in so long, but I trained super hard. I was like, all I care about is starting my senior year. It's all I fucking care about. And then 3 games in, I broke my hand. In a meaningless game against like fucking the University of like Minnesota University or whatever. We were winning by like 12 goals and I broke my hand.
How'd you break it?
I ran out of the net. I picked up the ball. I got pushed from behind. I landed on the turf like that. I didn't even realize I broke it. I got up. I made another save. And then I outletted it. And there was just this pain all the way down my arm into my shoulder. And I thought I dislocated my shoulder because it was so intense in my shoulder. And then I remember the trainer, I got pulled at half because we were winning by so much. And my coach was like, do you want to put no in? I was like, yeah, fucking go to town. Also, my hand hurts. Mm-hmm. And then she took this like metal thing and she hit my hand. She was like, the good news is it's not broken. So you'll be back. And I was like, okay. And then I got an MRI and they're like, it's definitely broken. You're out for basically the season.
The bad news is it's super broken.
Oh, that was so gay, dude. Like, yeah, like my dad died. This was way worse. I was actually thinking about this in the car driving to Caneland to film lacrosse. I was like, when my dad died, it was like, yeah, that's fucked up. There was a lot of baggage around that, but I was like, people's parents die. Like, death is a part of life.
Yeah.
I can accept that.
No one breaks their hand.
I broke my hand in college in a meaningless game my senior year, and I was like, there's no God.
Yeah.
I freaked out in my car at one point. I just like went into my car like a couple months into the season, and I just screamed as loud as I could, and I walked back into my college house, and they're all like, what's up, dude? And I was like, nothing much. And then like a year later, they were like, yeah, we heard you
that's
screaming, dude.
I would have been like, yo, you're crazy, dude.
Dude, you don't understand. Like, before comedy, all that mattered for those 4 years was lacrosse. Like, I would have I still have dreams about lacrosse, like stress dreams about lacrosse, but like all that mattered was lacrosse. Uh-huh. It was like a full-time job. And then I broke my hand, and I remember when I broke my hand, I was sitting in my room on a fucking metal fold-out chair, and I was just like, I guess it's time for stand-up. But
that's a funny way to go to stand-up.
Yeah.
Fail.
That's how that's how most people get into it. Nobody's like, life's going really well. I'm going to do stand-up.
Yeah, time to try this out.
I'm going to pivot to stand-up.
Dude, the first time I remember the first set I ever did, I used to have this insane joke. Absolutely insane. It was when I started and I was still just going for like what's going to make people the most upset type thing.
I did that for about a year and a half.
Everyone does. And I remember I finished the punchline, and a dude turns around. He's holding 2 beers, and the room's dead silent. And this dude turns around from the bar and looks right at me and goes, "What the fuck?" It's the
Whoa.
only response. No one laughed, and then he sat down. After my punchline, just went, "What the fuck?" And then sat down. This was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And then I get off, and the host just goes, "I don't think you should come back.
Whoa.
This isn't the spot for you."
Well, why were you in Baton Rouge doing stand-up?
I went to college in Louisiana.
But did you start? So you just started doing stand-up in Louisiana?
I tried like twice.
And that was the second time?
That was the first time.
The first time you came out
That was like the
swinging?
first time I ever did it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And then you decided to come back after that, though. How'd you decide to come back? Or why?
because it wasn't hard. I hate the musicians do the same thing. Everyone likes to pretend like it's so hard. It's fucking not.
Well,
it's fun. You get to drink with your pals.
dude, trust me.
I hate it, dude. It makes me so mad. Every comic and musicians love to do this like starving artist lie where they make it sound like, first of all, that you have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do it that way. You don't have to be a starving artist. And second of all, they romanticize it in this way that it's awesome. It's like, no, you were a loser. For years, you were a loser. And now you're not. That's what happened. And the other thing is they like to make it sound so hard. Like, I hate when I meet a new comic. And it's one thing if you have like stage fright and stuff, that I can understand and I get that. But I hate like how scared people are. And I'm like, dude, it's not hard.
Of stand-up?
Yeah, they're like so scared. And I mean, even starting out comics, often they'll come up and, you know, we'll be talking or whatever, and they'll just be like, I know a guy right now who hasn't even tried it yet because he's just so worried about like, what if I bomb all this stuff?
Yeah,
and it's
that
just like,
is sort of just like, you're just not a comic.
I think it's because comics have been lying to them. And they're like, yeah, it's the hardest thing in the world. No, it's not. No, it is not.
Well, yeah,
it's not even close to the hardest thing I'm going to do today.
Yeah, dude, when there's a guy at my climbing gym, and I told him I did stand-up, and he was like, dude, that's so brave. That's incredible that you do that. And then he was like, here's a video of me swimming with a great white shark. And I was like, dude,
that's brave.
That is like way. I'm just talking.
Yeah, they let any idiot in
Also,
there.
you can do bad.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, people make it, they're like, bombing's the worst thing ever. Bombing's the worst thing ever when you're a real comic.
When you're at an open mic, it's
When you're at an open mic or even at like your starting shows, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't hurt at all. It's not until you're in a room of like 100 people plus where you're just like, oh, that's... Because the problem with those rooms is like anything gets a response.
Yeah.
Like if you go to Laugh Factory and bomb, holy crap, you just bombed.
Reevaluate.
Yeah,
That's
you
different.
just
That's
bombed.
different than Easy Bar at 1 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. And that room is like really giving and forgiving, and like if you bomb there, you bombed.
Yeah.
You bombed.
Yeah.
Like hard.
Totally. I think the frustrating thing for me with stand-up is a culmination of bombs, and then just like, what am I doing? I'm not sure how to do this. Just general frustration around it. But the actual act of getting on a stage and talking has never been something that I've been like, whoa.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean, again, if
I
you
get
have
butterflies.
yeah.
But I've never been like, oh my God, I have to go on stage right now.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have stage fright, I can get that. But, you know.
But that's also, back to lacrosse, like, I think about,
yeah,
when
did you
people
get
say,
butterflies like that for when you played lacrosse?
oh my
too?
God, yeah. Oh my God,
Like
dude.
even worse?
Like the amount of adrenaline you have, especially as a goalie, going into a game is just, it's so fucking nuts. But my point is like, you think stand-up is hard, try playing lacrosse goalie in college. And also, when you get scored on, you turn around, you see a giant, like, fucking scoreboard, and then it ticks up one.
Yeah.
And that's your fault that happened.
Yeah. The goalie's different. Because lacrosse is any game with a goalie, like soccer, lacrosse, hockey. It is a team sport unless you're the goalie.
Yeah.
And then it feels very like an individual sport. Because, like, yeah, your defense has to help you out.
Defense is a unit, and we're all working together. But at the end of the day, it's like, you got to save the shot.
Yeah, it's like they're shooting at you.
They are.
So I've always thought that I was like...
Psychologically, it's fucked with me. Goalie has fucked with me way harder than stand up ever.
I would
has.
think so.
Psychologically, goalie is the hardest thing I think I've ever done.
Well, because also the other thing is it's almost worse because again, it's that idea of like it's a team sport. So if you get scored on, you've let your team down.
Exactly. On stage, who gives a fuck? This is my own joke.
Yeah, if I bomb, I bombed.
Yeah.
That's the same reason why the blues thing is so much harder for me than stand up.
Because you're fucking
Because I'm
over
part
your,
of like a team.
your ensemble.
And if I mess up,
Yeah.
I'm messing them up.
And also,
And that's what I get more worried and feel bad about. Like I don't
Yeah.
care. Like someone can leave a show and be like, "Man, that guy sucked." Like about me, and it's like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if they leave a show and they're going like, "Man, that band wasn't that great,"
now you're hurting everybody
now
else.
I'm hurting everybody.
Yeah, that sucks. A lot of comics don't listen to their sets, and they like complain about how hard it is to listen to their sets. And I just want to be like, dude, we had to watch game film. Like you had to sit in a room full of your best friends and
just
have
watch
your
yourself
head coach
fail.
circle your error and be like, stop being a pussy.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So much easier than so much harder than just like putting on headphones and being like, ooh. Yeah, I didn't like how I came across there.
And also, it's like, then don't listen to your set, dumbass.
Yeah, that is.
Like, what?
But yeah, it's like if you're not
It's like people did it without that for years.
true.
Just
But
remember what the fuck you said.
I can't do that. Well, I can remember what I said, but I feel like I have to listen to it to weed out the bad stuff. And also, like, I have a lot of like vocal tics that I don't realize, where I'll like end up,
I've realized.
or like I'll sound. Dude, you gotta tell me after.
we all realize. We all know.
If we as a community agreed to just tell me every time
Yeah.
after my set everything
all
that was
know.
wrong, we wouldn't have to.
I
do the
asked people, I
recordings.
said, should I tell them? They said, no.
Let them keep listening to the
They said
recordings.
it's not going to help.
Dude, it will. Please, Bob Keane, let me know.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a wild. I was thinking about that because I played lacrosse in high school.
Mhm.
And I played long pole midi
Fuck yeah, dude.
and then attack.
Two very different,
I know.
extremely
Well,
different.
when
positions.
I started, I was just a football player.
Uh-huh.
So I was one of those
Oh yeah,
players
weren't you
who-
like the kid on the crease?
Yeah.
I think you told me. Yeah.
But when I started, I played football and I didn't start lacrosse until like 8th grade, which is way too late.
No, it's not. We loved converting football players. That would
'Cause they just
always
hit
happen.
hard.
Yeah,
That's what they
hockey players and football players always make great lacrosse players.
Because they just hit and they're able to run around. And,
Yep.
And
They're
so that's
fast
why
and
they
they're
had me
physical.
at long pole midi, but I just didn't really have. Funny enough, I didn't have the stick skills.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's hard to use a long pole.
Yeah, so they were just like, "What else can we have you do?" And then I played midi for a little bit, and then they were like, "Well, let's try attack." And I was like, "Isn't the whole problem I don't have stick skills?"
I
And
was
they were
gonna
like-
say.
they were like, "Don't worry about it, dude. Like, we're gonna put you on the crease. Like, all you have to do
You're
is
just a
bang
catapult.
around."
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I played, we had like our other attackmen were both like these tiny dudes.
Uh huh.
So literally, my whole job was just to like hit and be like a body so that they didn't get beat up so much by the long poles.
Yeah.
Because like if you tried to body check me, I would just run you over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I would often like pass the ball off and immediately just run into the guy defending me and just try and run him over.
So you said a lot of picks and screens.
Yeah, I would just do that, and then I would
Yeah.
like sit on the crease and just like punch him. You know, anyone trying to cover me on the crease, I just punch him a bunch and
Yep.
kind of wear him down was my whole gig. But I scored a lot of goals too.
Sick.
Yeah, I scored a lot of goals.
What does it
'cause
feel like to score a goal? I've never.
It's sick. It is pretty sick.
That's the thing is like as a goalie, it's like making a save is amazing, but I always. And then I played hockey but only for like 2 years, and then I got thrust into goalie, which I loved. It was like I fell in love with it, but I still have never experienced scoring a goal really in a game.
I would think, honestly, depending on your mentality, but like with lacrosse, it feels pretty good. But the problem is it's such a high scoring game
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like if it's soccer,
Has to be a high pressure situation.
yeah,
man.
with soccer, I bet it's even better.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
it's like
dude.
the
People are
one
ripping off
goal
their
of the whole
shirts.
game,
Yeah.
Whereas lacrosse, it's like there's 12
Yeah.
goals.
Average.
Yeah, and you got like one of the 12.
Literally in college, if we had 10 goals or less per game allowed on defense, our coach would be like, "That's a good job."
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
That's not
That's
a
not a
lot.
lot,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
You think if they're
it's
only
a
scoring
lot.
2 a quarter, that's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a lot comparably to like soccer
Mm-hmm.
or hockey. And so yeah, I guess with that maybe. But I honestly bet saving a goal feels better.
Whoa.
Yeah. honestly.
I mean, it is pretty sick.
I bet it's pretty.
It's like the psychological.
Again, it's about your mentality
Yeah.
of like, it does feel great to just be like, no.
Yeah.
To a person, like somebody's coming up to you and you're just like, no.
There on my highlight tape from my junior year, it's so sad that I know this, but on my highlight tape from junior year of high school, there's a shot against Hillsborough, and this kid who's a great shooter, he like winds up, pretty low angle, but he winds up and he shoots, and I step and it goes off my knee and just like shoots up into the stratosphere. And it was so clearly going to be a goal before I stepped into it that like everybody on the sideline has their hands on their head, like they couldn't believe it. And I was like, that's what I live for, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just being able to like, no,
Yeah,
not today.
that's what I mean. That seems
Psychologically shutting
kind
someone
of more
down
fun.
is super sick.
Yeah, some dude with like crazy stick skills who's like trying to stick top cheese on you or
Yeah.
something. You just stuff them.
Yeah, but you can't talk shit as a goalie. That's like the thing that sucks the most.
You can't talk shit.
Because all they have to do is score on you, and then you're just like, you just lost.
My goalie used to talk crazy shit.
I should have talked shit.
You should have, dude. My goalie in high school used to talk crazy. He would like get in fights.
I bet he was good.
Regularly.
Was he good?
He was pretty good. He like wasn't amazing. He just talked crazy shit, and then he would just like he would come out of the goal a lot and like fuck people up.
Oh, I like that.
Like just blindside some dude who's like, like
just
like
take them out.
Yeah, he would destroy dudes on the crease. Like if you tried to play, like it got to the point where other teams would just not even play a crease play. They would only play him like behind.
That's a huge advantage.
They wouldn't actually really break because he would just fuck. Like if you tried to play crease, he would just cross check you in the throat, like really dirty.
Damn,
Then,
yeah, and they let the goalie get away with more
yeah,
too.
and then just talk mad shit. I also saw him take it coast to coast like 5 different times.
He scored coast to coast?
Once.
Wow.
But he would just take it coast to coast.
And that's the dream.
And our coach would just be going,
freaking out.
What are you doing? Like so pissed.
That's so awesome, dude.
He's just like running. Ah!
Have you seen the video of Blaze Reardon going coast to coast in college?
No.
Okay, I'll show you that after. It's like he's like a 270-pound goalie that goes coast to coast against Cornell. It's the most amazing thing ever.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say though, conversely to the soccer thing and like scoring and how good that feels. When I played hockey goalie, like when you play lacrosse goalie, it's like you're expected to let in this amount of goals.
Hockey.
So you have a couple to spare. They always say lacrosse goalie, it's like you should save the ones you're supposed to, and then steal a couple that you're not supposed to. But so there's some that you can just like accept. You're like, okay,
Like
that was
what was I gonna do?
4 yards away, step down, hands free. Like I can't do anything there. That's like physically impossible. For hockey goalie, if you let in one goal, you're like, fuck. Dude, and my hockey team, my coach would this is not a good, I love my coach, but this is like not very inspiring what he would tell us because we didn't have a good offense. We had a great defense, not a good offense. And he would always tell us, he'd be like, our team is designed to hold a lead. We are not designed to come back. And I remember, so then I would let in one goal and be like, God damn it, no. And then we'd lose 0-1.
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
That's
fuck.
brutal.
Dude, we lost a game. I was 24 for 24 on saves against a CVC rival, Robbinsville, in high school. And they had a face-off in our zone with less than 2 seconds to go. And our coach, it doesn't even go to overtime in New Jersey hockey. It's a tie game, regular season. So it's we're winning 1-0. And all we need to do, my coach is like, just dump the puck in their zone. We win the game. We win the face-off, try to dump the puck off the glass. They keep it in the zone. So much traffic in front. This kid takes a shot. I never even see the shot leave his stick. And then I just hear the buzzer. They cheer. I turn 0.1 seconds left on the clock. They tie the game, and then that's it.
That's brutal.
And I've skated to the bench, and my coach, who was a goalie, he looks at me, and he was like, 0.1 seconds away from a wet dream. That's all I can say. 0.1 seconds.
So did you ever try to do hockey in college or no? That wasn't even a thought.
We didn't have time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we also didn't have a team. I actually wanted to like create a club, but my coach was like, no, focus on lacrosse, buddy. Which is an excellent point. Hockey is beautiful, though. I
regret not playing hockey. That's actually my biggest. Weirdly enough, people talk about like the regrets you have.
This is the whitest regret ever.
Seriously,
it's a good one though, dude.
Honestly, I think my biggest regrets from high school are not playing hockey or baseball.
Oh, baseball! You can do without baseball.
No, I think I concentrated too much on. I was never gonna play football.
Come on.
I'm 5'8" on a good day.
You could be in the slot.
Like it was crazy, and I have like permanent shoulder issues from it, like high school football.
How are you gonna do
like,
baseball with
that's
shoulder
crazy.
issues?
I wouldn't have had it because I would have been playing baseball.
Oh,
Like it was from like
I
dislocating
see,
my shoulder a
see.
bunch of times, and like, which maybe I still would have had it, whatever. But
Dude,
that
you'd make
just
a great
seems-
catcher.
Yeah, I think so too.
You got a catcher body.
I think so too.
Or
And,
an
like,
ump.
What?
Or an ump.
Yeah, an ump. But like, because the other thing is like, there's no, as an adult, there's nowhere for me to like play football. Well, unless I go play
Yeah, you
like
could join, like, a flag football
but
league.
that's like not this. That's not at all the same thing.
No, it's not. And there's definitely no way you get to like be a cool position.
No, but I could go play like rec hockey.
Yeah, dude, hockey is very accessible. There's literally a place down the street you could go tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. But I just never learned, so I would just get owned.
Dude, can I tell you one of my stupid ass dreams for when I make it big in comedy?
Yeah.
Because I have these dreams of grandeur, as I think we all do to a certain extent. But like mine, all of my ideal life is just like living like a child. But like one of my like dreams is if I get to the point where I'm like self-sufficient on comedy, just like every day of the week have a different private coach teaching me a different sport. So it's like Monday hockey 1-on-1, Tuesday tennis 1-on-1,
Tennis is
Wednesday
sick.
basketball 1-on-1, and just like keep going, snowboard. Like just,
That's pretty sick.
Just get good at all the things that I like, and then like Thursdays guitar 1-on-1, and then
I could teach you to snowboard.
I snowboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because I grew up in the ski town.
that's
You know that, right?
that's amazing.
Yeah, I grew up in Vale.
What?
Yeah.
So-
I'm like a really good snowboarder.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I'll take you out. I'll show you some stuff.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
We should plan a trip.
We should.
Comics trip.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I
let's
love
do that.
I love skiing, dude.
I need money, but
I used
wait,
to
you
do,
ski or snowboard?
I snowboard. Well, I can do both,
Okay, yeah, of
but
course.
I'm a better snowboarder.
Snowboarding's more fun, don't you think? Don't you feel
Um,
more free on the snowboard?
I think it's I always say this about like snowboard skiing. Skiing is easier to learn, harder to do.
Harder to master is what I've heard. Yeah.
Same idea. And snowboarding is the reverse. So like I really like it because for me I can go out, and now I don't snowboard often.
Fucking Midwest.
I can
dude.
go out and take like a day to kind of get my feet in order, and then I can start like boarding.
Mhm.
But like with skiing, you know, there's always that fear of like I'm gonna destroy my knee, and especially for me for work. Like if I break my knee, I'm out of work.
Yeah.
So I don't really.
You can't
like,
just be propped up with a cast playing the drums.
No, I don't really shred like that anymore.
Damn.
Like I used to do, you know, like big. I was a big backcountry kid growing up,
That's so
dropping
cool.
cliffs and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
From
Biggest I ever
helicopters?
did. The biggest. No. The biggest cliff I ever did was in Vale. It was a 25-footer.
That's fucking.
That was huge.
Pretty
That
big.
was scary, dude.
You jumped off that?
Yeah. Did a 180.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Bolts?
Dude, yeah. Stuck it. Rode off like a boss, dude. Rode off like a freaking boss. Another time I did one, and because the problem with them is there's sharks under the snow. There's little rocks that sometimes stick out.
Okay, I mean, I actually thought,
And if you don't know, you can go off and just get crumpled by like a boulder.
Jesus.
So yeah, you got to be scouting. But one time, I like landed it and I kind of like barrel rolled out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I got up, my nose just hit a rock.
Ooh.
So I like landed, barrel roll, nose hits a rock, and I just face planted, like to the point where my friends were like running over because they thought they were gonna have to dig me out because I was like just like a foot, just head in the snow,
Scorpion?
completely suffocating. Yeah, just squirming, legs squirming, but it didn't knock me out or anything, so I was able to get out and be fine.
Still pretty gnarly. How bad was your nose fucked up?
Oh no, the nose of my board.
Oh.
My nose was
Dude, I
fine.
thought you'd be dead.
No, my nose was fine. But that is how people like normally die. Skiing, like one of the big ways people die is they hit a tree well.
Uh-huh.
So what it is
Well.
like, you know, like the base of a tree, how
hit
they
it.
have like the kind of the scooped out part, like under all the limbs.
Yeah.
What can happen is if you fall head first into that, you'll knock all the snow off the tree
And you get buried.
and you get buried and you
Oh,
suffocate.
shit.
And people die like that all the time.
It blows my mind how dangerous skiing is and how accessible it is.
Yeah, it's
Like
pretty
you
crazy.
can go to a resort and they just like give a 5-year-old rentals and then they're like pizza
Yeah.
and you're like really? Because I mean Michael Schumacher, he's the greatest Formula 1 driver of all time. Won like 7 world titles
Yeah.
and he's been in a coma for the past like 10 years because of skiing.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, he drove over 250 miles an hour
that's
in like a death machine.
Yeah, like one
for
of
like
the most
20
dangerous
years,
sports
for
that
like
exists.
30, 40 years, and then he goes skiing, which like kids can do, and now he's in a coma.
Well, the problem with it is because it's so people treat it like it's so low stakes.
Yeah.
They do that. Like nothing makes me more mad than when I go out and I see people not wearing a helmet. Because I'm like, dude, I'm so much better than you and I wear a helmet.
Yeah.
Me and all my friends wear helmets and we're all way like I have friends that were like in the Dew Tour and like we're in the Junior Olympics and
Holy shit.
one friend that was gonna go to the Olympics. I have friends that have like competed in the X Games. We all wear fucking helmets.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, what are you doing, guy?
And they don't make it mandatory.
No, it's not
Which is-
mandatory
you
at
have-
all.
Yeah. I think it's like illegal to not wear a helmet on bikes in some places.
Yeah, but not for skiing. Well, like one of my friends, that's the weird thing that happens with skiing too is like competition wise, like my friend that did Dew Tour, like whenever we ski, he wears a helmet, but on Dew Tour, he doesn't.
Why?
Because of like,
Steez?
yeah, it's gay.
You're not going to tell them that I wear a helmet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he like has to be sick at all
Yeah.
times. So he can't wear a helmet.
Beanie.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, do I want to be safe or ballin'?
Dude, the first time I ever went snowboarding, I didn't wear a helmet until I fell like 10 times in a row. And my friend, who's he's like a good skier, he just gave me his helmet. And he was like, you need this way more than I do.
Yeah, he's like, you gotta have a helmet.
I was like,
Playboy.
thank you, bro.
I just bought a new one. I also just bought a new snowboard.
Nice.
I haven't gotten to use it because I bought it like right as the season was ending so that I could get a deal on it.
Of course.
Got
So
it.
now you're just like riding it in your room, just like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I want to. I want to set up. I want to try and next year do urban rails, like some stuff in the city.
Uh-huh.
Like just build a little jump.
I'll
and
film that.
Yeah, dude, it's so sick. I want to make that if I ever do a stand-up special. I want to make that my intro. It's just me shredding.
That'd be sick.
I talked about with my metal band that we should make that a music video.
And then they're playing in the background.
It's just me snowboarding.
Yeah.
Just my snowboard edits.
How
me.
about we do a video of me?
Yeah, me living my
Doing
childhood
cool
dream
tricks,
of being a
yeah.
professional snowboarder, but just over a grunge
Oh.
song.
Snowboarding's so great. If I could do one activity on loop, like if it was just like you're resigned to doing one thing for the rest of your life for eternity, it would just be snowboarding.
Really?
It would just be like put me on a mountain and just let me go
I
forever.
just get so beat up from it, I feel like now. Because I'm just out of shape. Got fat.
Yeah, I
so,
mean, I
like,
guess I'm assuming in that scenario I have like infinite
unlimited.
health.
Okay, then I would agree. That's pretty
Otherwise,
good.
I'd just be like, help me.
Yeah, I mean,
After
you-
like
yeah.
one day, just dying on the
Yeah.
slopes.
You'd just be like, who's
I
the
could just
guy
eat,
who
like,
had to
Cliff Bars
carry the
and-
boulder up a mountain every day?
Sisyphus.
Yeah, you're just Sisyphus.
Yeah,
while
Sisyphus, but
snowboarding.
instead of a boulder, it's just with your snowboard.
you're
Yeah.
just, ah!
It would suck if you got that deal and then they're like, and you landed in like a ski resort in Wisconsin. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah. Have
So
you
I
ever?
get-
I've never actually skied Midwest. I haven't skied out here yet.
Don't do it, dude.
I'm gonna
It's
try
not,
it.
It's not worth it. The
I'm just
longest
gonna go
run
to
you
a
can
park.
get is like 30 seconds.
That's cool. I'll just go to a park.
I mean, that's what I did. That's how I got injured in college. Is I went to a terrain park. They had like a rope pulley that you could just like grab onto and go up. I was in the terrain park and I went off a jump that, like flat, and then the jump comes up from there. But there's the jump and then there's a drop after the jump. So the jump is actually way higher than you think it is. And
Oh,
I went
yeah.
off and I looked down and I like did the fucking arms waving and then I landed all on my like back leg
Ow.
and I heard a pop and I just crawled off the slope and I was like, well, there goes my season.
Well, that's why I stopped like snowboarding hard. Like up until 6th grade, I was like on track with all those kids I told you about who are now like pro.
I was gonna say, where were you relative to that friend group?
I was really good. Like when I was younger, like really young, I was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was in 5th grade, I was doing like double black diamonds and stuff.
Damn.
And like already starting to do 360s and like the big like Olympic size jumps and stuff like that. And then I remember in
Half pipe.
Yeah, I got out of the pipe and stuff at that time. And then I had a friend, we were going to do the big jumps. So, like, at Vail, they have, like, Olympic-sized jumps. So, like, the 25, 40-foot jumps.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that launched one. Same thing. Got too much air, blah, blah, blah. He cleared the entire landing. He landed flat. And he landed on the nose of his board and just accordioned. Just and, like, smashed his face. And he was, like, bleeding from the gums.
Oh.
Like, he just had blood coming out of his mouth. He didn't bite anything. We, like, checked. He was bleeding. And he was just going, like, I think I got it. Because the first thing they train you about, like, concussions and stuff, if you start doing, like, extreme snowboarding, is, like, you know, always let people know where you're going if you're going to do backcountry, right? Bring a finder, bring what you can for safety. And then if you know someone's concussed, just don't let them fall asleep. Right, like that's the number one thing because that's how people get into comas.
Yeah,
they fall asleep, and so he's like sitting there bleeding from his mouth, and he's just going like, "I think I need to take a nap," and I'm like screaming like, "No, no," because I like think my friend's gonna die.
That's intense.
And he passed out, and he woke up. He's fine now. But that's when I was just like, I think I'm good enough.
Yeah, it's kind of harrowing.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I need to get any better. Like,
Damn.
I think I'll just be this good at snowboarding. And I just never really got past that point because I was just like, dude. Because snowboarding is different than skateboarding. I was talking to someone about this the other day. With skateboarding, because you can learn flip tricks and stuff, the danger doesn't necessarily need to be ratcheted up to be improving.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if you could do a cool... Like, you can do flat land and, like,
Still
flat
do
ground
tricks.
and always learn new tricks and always be doing cool stuff. With snowboarding, you
need a
kind
lot
of
of
have
air.
to ramp it up danger-wise, or there's just nowhere to get... Nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, once you can spin on a rail, the only thing you can do next is a bigger rail.
And now I need a bigger rail.
Like, once you can do...
And I need to
then
go
you
faster on it.
Yeah, and you start getting to tricks where it's like, you know, you need a certain amount of air to do a 540.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you get to 1080 and you need more air to even do the trick. So you just get to a point where it's like the only way to be improving is to be ratchet, like heightening the danger.
Well, whenever I watch them do, because I watch all like the exports snowboarding and the Olympic snowboarding, like the freestyle stuff,
So
and every
sick.
time it's the coolest
So
shit,
sick,
dude. They'll
dude.
do this thing like before
Did you watch
they go
Knuckle
off
Huck
the
at
jump.
the X Games, by
Yeah,
the way?
yeah.
Dude, so sick.
Literally the coolest thing I've ever watched in my life, and you're just like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
Of
Of course, the one black guy is like the steeziest snowboarder alive.
That's how that always happens. It's like Lewis Hamilton.
It's like the only one, and he's so
Yeah.
sick.
It's like he has to be. Yeah,
so
Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
But whenever I watch that and I see them doing like a 540 or a 1080 or something, I'm like, how? Because I know you didn't get that on your first try. So like the times when you didn't get that, how did you not die? I don't understand.
Well, a lot of them, first of all, they do it like into like foam pits.
Oh, yeah,
So
I've seen that.
actually, yeah. He said like they didn't land it their first time. They probably did. Like on a real
like
jump,
actually
because
land, yeah, because they
would
failed
have
so
been
many
fucked
times. On
up if they didn't.
yeah, I mean that's
like,
just so much
or
pressure.
or they'll like wash out of it,
Mm.
so they won't get the full rotation, land heels, and kind of
It's
slide
just
out.
being airborne like that is just so,
It's so
alien
nuts.
to me. It's,
So
and then just being comfortable with land and that term bolts,
Yeah.
which I've heard just from watching that. It's just like, so you're telling me that all you have to do is land like that from like any height and you're good?
Yeah,
I don't know, dude. That looks like it hurts.
I had a friend that 25-foot cliff I told you about. That was like my proudest moment. I did like a little lame 180 off of it.
Lame 180.
And
Nice.
I'm like, whatever, that's so sick. My friend goes after me and does like a 540.
What a bitch, dude.
Yeah, with like a Japan grab.
What's
It
a
just
Japan
made me
grab?
look like a total Japan grab is when they like put the board completely over their back.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my
It's
god.
nuts. I think it's called a Japan grab. Yeah, you like bend it so that like this and you like grab over your back.
I couldn't do that statically.
I can't. I
That's,
can't.
That's
I never
absurd. Have you seen the clip of Norm Macdonald with like an Olympic snowboarder on Conan?
No.
And they play a clip of her doing like some crazy trick, and then it cuts to Norm and he goes, "It just looks so easy." Just so insulting.
I like your Wii, dude. That's pretty old school.
Yeah, man. See how the light is red on it?
Yeah.
Because that Wii has been, it's like truly on its last legs. So I used to play Wii golf after every open mic.
Why?
I can't go to bed after open mic, so I have to like play a video game or something.
And
to
you don't
wind
really
down.
drink like that either, right?
Not really. No. I mean, if I go to a mic, I'm probably being inebriated somehow. But if I can get weed, I'll do weed. That's different, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've had some drunken links.
Do you have trouble with finding weed?
No,
Oh, okay.
it's just I just don't like buying it,
Okay.
so I just have to mooch. But the great thing about comedy is that everybody has weed,
Yeah.
so it's like awesome. But yeah, dude, I've played so much Wii golf, but it's now at the point where you have to do. We call it the ritual, and because the Wii doesn't start, it just like keeps like shitting the bed, and now it takes up to 30 minutes to do the ritual just to turn it on. So I used to come home drunk from open mics and lay on the ground and do the ritual, which is just putting the disc in over and over and over. And my roommate would just hear the Wii just going. It would just sound like an MRI machine.
Wii golf. Why don't you get a new Wii? I bet they're like $30.
They're not. They're actually more expensive than you think.
Really?
Wii's appreciate.
Oh, because they stopped making them.
Yeah. They're like $800 now. No, I'm
What?
kidding.
I was like, holy crap.
I think
I should have invested in Wii's.
I think before the summer officially kicks off, I am gonna get a new Wii, because
Yeah.
I truly do love Wii golf. It's like incredibly cathartic, unless I'm losing, and then I want to fucking murder a child.
Dude,
But,
I was playing PGA on the Xbox.
Ooh, you got PGA 2K?
Dude, so hard.
It is hard.
I haven't hit under par a single time.
Really?
Like individual holes I have,
The
but in a
overall,
total
yeah.
game, I don't think I've ever hit under par.
That's pretty insane, dude.
It's so hard. Dude.
My roommate used to have that on his PS5, but he deleted it. Rip me. But it was in our college house, and it was while I was doing a film internship, and I was the only one at our college house for that summer. Normally, like 5 guys in there. So I would do this internship. It was like a 13-hour day, and then I would go make food. I would always just get a bottle of wine. I would get super wine drunk and play 2K golf.
It's a good game.
Just sitting there completely zoinked out. Just fucking.
I've
Oh.
definitely done that a few times. And then you're like, it's crazy because I catch myself like basking in the beauty of the courses.
Oh my god!
I'm like, what a beautiful
I didn't skip
course.
any of the intros.
I know, me
Yeah,
neither.
the
You
static
sit
humans
there-
that are like
yeah,
cardboard
yeah.
cutouts.
But I'm just drunk, just like, what a
I know.
fucking beautiful. Can you imagine playing Augusta? What a beautiful course.
I mean, TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah, I'm like
Oh.
getting into it. I'm like got a fan blowing on my face. I'm like, yeah, can you feel the breeze?
This is the whitest podcast ever, dude. Even in Wii Sports, when it's like da-na-na-na-na-na, and it's like the craziest because like all they're like islands that you have to take boats to each other.
I play NBA 2K and I do the same thing. I just like
Fuck.
watch the fans cheer, and they're even worse.
That's what I do in Madden.
Yeah,
if
and they're
I've-
total cardboard. They haven't increased. That game makes me so mad because I'm like, you guys could make this better.
Yeah. Do you have the recent one? It's got to be somewhat better.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed for the NHL video game, for all the fans, and this is kind of weird that they do this, but I have noticed for the fan character models, what they'll do is they don't actually put in black people. They just have white models that they turn the skin shade all the way dark on.
That's pretty.
So it just
sick.
looks like a bunch of white guys in blackface cheering
That's
for you. It's-
pretty sick.
and you're like, this is Ottawa.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, that's crazy. When we were in Canada like 2 years ago, we were playing gigs, and it was during the Battle of Alberta.
Uh-huh.
Remember when Calgary and the Edmonton were playing?
Mm-hmm.
And so literally every gig we'd go, we would be like, hey, because usually you turn the TVs off when we start.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, can you turn the TVs off? And the bartenders were just like, no.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, they'll literally riot. And so every show was just like, let's say the TV's over there and we're over here. It would just be like this. And they'd go. It was just back to the
They're
game.
being polite.
Yeah, they were polite and they enjoyed it. Like, people enjoyed the shows, but it was just, I've never had a more disinterested audience in anything I've ever done.
That's the thing with comedy, dude, is it's the greatest thing ever unless it has to compete with literally anything.
Yeah, that's where music kind of
Music
is
music can sort of be a background thing or like a bass layer.
But I will say, as a musician, it's just as insulting. That's like what people don't recognize is like, You know, you go to a bar and there's a band playing and everyone's just like talking and ignoring them.
And you're like, what
Like
the
that
fuck?
band, it hurts their feelings.
Damn. Well,
That's like the thing people don't recognize. It like does hurt your
if
feelings.
it were up to me, I would go to concerts where you just sit in complete silence the entire time.
So sick.
That's my dream.
Go to Byron's.
But I will go to shout out Byron's.
Shout out Byron's.
But I can't, not the Indiana place though. That it's in
Pomeroy.
Fuck
Pomeroy.
Pomeroy. Fuck
Dude,
Pomeroy.
it's so crazy that people like, I'll be like Byron's and they'll be like, oh hell yeah, Byron's. Is that in that like one shit town Palm Joy? Like they don't know the town.
Oh, that's so awesome.
They just know Byron's.
Superseded.
Yeah, dude.
What was I saying? Fuck.
Probably something stupid.
Yeah, probably.
We were talking about how you don't need to be interrupted,
Oh, I just
which is hilarious.
I don't like.
Because I then interrupted you.
You did. I don't like you see like videos of people going to concerts and everybody's just screaming and loud the entire time, and I would honestly be down to go to like an orchestra or an opera where you just sit there.
Have you ever seen the orchestra?
Yeah, when I was in elementary school, we went on a class trip to the Princeton University Orchestra
sick.
Symphony. So cool. Although I will say, a couple of the kids were screaming out, like because nobody else was screaming. It was just completely silent. So kids would just be like, ah! And then it would like echo. And then I, of course, got peer pressured and I did it. But what on mine is when the teacher snapped, and I will never forget that. She snapped on us, but at me, and she was like, "Do not do that in here." And then she like took me outside, and I was like, "Just let me go watch the cello, please." Yeah. I learned my lesson, Mrs. McGuire.
Yeah, we'll go. We should go. I'll go with you. We can go watch the Chicago Philharmonic or something.
I would love to do that.
I saw the New York Philharmonic in high school. It was amazing. They had a French horn player with them. Dude, and he did a solo, and it was I legitimately almost cried.
It's beautiful.
Like for real, I almost.
Well,
cried.
that's gonna
and
move
this
me
was
to
like my
tears.
peak high school, like drunken, stupor.
That'll get through to you.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't care about shit.
No.
Fuck you, mom. And then a French horn almost made me cry.
Yeah, and you're like, this French horn understands
I
you
remember
way
my
more.
dad was sick at the time, and I just like wouldn't cry at anything. And I was just like, fuck everything. Everything sucks. And then I saw that guy play the French horn, and I was like, oh, fuck. My dad.
It's crazy how an instrument can make you do that.
Yeah. I hope my daddy's fine.
Please be okay, Dad, please. That guy has no idea what he did to you.
Yeah.
Dude, at my aunt's funeral, there was a guy, and you know how they have like the choir behind them singing? And there was a guy, there's just one fucking guy in the choir who was hamming it up a bit. A bit more than everybody else. And dude,
He was kind of like doing it
so
like it was a
mad.
play. He was like,
I was like, this isn't America's Got Talent. We're doing like licks and stuff, and I was so furious, dude. Like we're all celebrating this wonderful human being, and then they'd be like, oh, and he'd be the one that's like, oh, and I was
yeah, he'd be going like,
I just wanted to go up to him and be like, you're making this about you. And it's not about you.
That's so funny. He was in the choir hamming it up.
I remember his face.
At a funeral.
He looked like Mr. Big from Sex and the City.
That's so funny, dude.
God, that pissed me off
That's
so
awesome.
much, dude. Well, that's the thing with music too that I'm finally getting over, because I like put a list on my phone of things that I want to do in life, and one of them is like learn an instrument with proficiency and passion, because passion is like big. I don't want to just be a guy that's like robotically playing a guitar. I want to like really be into it. Because when I went to Australia, they all just have jam sessions where they're all playing guitar, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, fuck, I can't do this. I can't join in at all. And then at one point, like an old Australian guy turns to me and he's like, this is the one universal language, music. Everyone knows it. And I'm like, not me, dude. I am completely inept. But I always, for the longest time, I thought I would just, anytime I would watch somebody playing an instrument with any passion or singing with any passion, I'd be like, you think you're so fucking sick, don't you? And now I can actually, I'm just like, okay, you're in it.
Yeah, that
I
is
get
sick.
it. Now I watch John Mayer play guitar, and I'm like,
That's cool.
oh my God. Before I used to watch him, like, this guy's such a douche, bro.
Yeah, well, he is. But
He is
like,
a douche, but he's also the greatest.
But also being douchey is
guitarist.
cool.
It is kind of cool.
Like
dude.
giving a shit about stuff. That's such like a. I remember.
But he gives us all he cares about is guitar.
That's what I'm saying.
so
That's
it's
sick.
like that's enough.
That's like a childhood, I think, thing that everyone's got to get over is like the trying is gay.
Oh yeah,
Because trying is sick.
yeah.
It's like the same thing with dancing. You see someone dancing.
I
and
can't
you're like,
do that, man.
You're like, cut that out. And then you're just kind of, as you get older, you're just like, well, that's sick.
I know.
Like, I'm happy you're having fun. That's really sweet.
I've now gotten to the point. I used to watch people dance, and I'd be like, "Dude, fuck you."
Yeah, no
who,
one
Who even
cares.
are you? What do you? This is gay.
You're gay.
And then now
you're a gay person.
And then now I'm like, it's still gay.
Yeah, but
No,
it's pretty
but it's
sick.
It's admirable.
Yeah, it's
that
gay
you're
in the way
able to
Elton
do that.
John is gay, which is sick.
So cool.
Yeah, so sick.
That's funny to use gay and then just be like Elton John gay,
Elton John gay.
and they'd be like, "Thank you."
They're like, whoa, that's nice.
Yeah, that's actually very nice of you.
Dude, I was you brought up the funeral thing and it made me think about like I went to a friend's wedding recently and it was a Catholic wedding and so they have like the band playing, like the organ player.
Yeah.
And the organ player was the most noticeably Jewish woman I've ever seen in my entire
Yes,
life. Like clearly Jewish. And I remember they're
just like-
saying their vows, and I just kind of lean over to my friend, and he's like, he was getting mad at me because I kept cracking jokes, and he was like, dude, shut up, it's our friend's wedding, like you're being a dick. And I just lean over and I was like, this is the last thing I'll say, but I think that might be the most noticeably Jewish woman I've ever seen. And my friend just like looks over and he's like, oh shit, and like starts laughing, and his girlfriend gets all pissed off.
You've paid it forward.
Yeah,
That's
I told my
amazing.
friend whose wedding it was later. I was like, "You guys noticed? You hired like the most Jewish lady," and he was like, "Yeah, dude," because he had noticed apparently like he was
like giving his
there
vows.
during
He's like,
his
"What the
vows, and, like,
fuck?"
yeah, apparently he
Oh my
literally
God.
noticed, and he was like, "Holy shit, that lady's clearly Jewish."
That's so funny. That's awesome. Was she good?
She was amazing.
Yeah.
She was.
I like how
amazing.
you saved it for last for your friend. Like right at the cusp of him like really getting mad at you, and then they're like, one more thing.
One more thing.
I have to tell you this.
I have to tell you this.
She's so Jewish.
And that was the one that broke him. The other ones just made him mad. But I liked it. I actually I think if you're going to get married, that's the way to do it.
Have a Jewish organist?
Sure, but Catholic.
Why?
I think you should do anything.
I've never been to a wedding. I
Oh.
don't understand.
That's sad. How many funerals have you been to?
A lot.
That's so sad. Dude.
I know the ratio is horrible.
You're so sad.
The ratio is, dude. My especially my dad's side of the family,
They
which
just
I'm
drop
not
like flies.
seriously. I'm not like biologically related to them, thank God. But
Are you adopted or something? Or
I'm a test tube baby.
oh, sweet.
Yeah, I found out 3 weeks before my dad died.
Really?
Pretty cool, right?
Who told you?
My mother leaving the hospital,
Oh, your dad died of a sickness,
diabetes,
diabetes.
kidney failure.
Why was it test tube? Because they were worried
He
about.
he couldn't. He was infertile.
Oh,
Yeah, but they didn't tell us because he's our dad. But then she told us because she didn't want us to think that we'd get his health problems.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I think as you get older,
It's
you don't.
surreal.
I have 3 adopted sisters,
Oh shit!
and I think, when you're young, my parents always told them. It was never.
From
They-
day one,
every day,
from day one,
They'd wake up and go,
they'd-
"You're adopted."
they'd set down their breakfast and be like, "Remember, you're adopted.
Don't get it twisted, bitch.
Not from
You're
me, not
adopted.
from her. Adopted."
You adopted.
He
No,
plucked
but
you.
I think that's one of those things that, like, when you're a kid, it can be confusing. But like, none of my sisters, they all had the opportunity to like find their parents, and none of them cared.
Really?
They were just like, they're not my parents. You're my parents. Like, it just never even really crossed their mind.
That's very. I cannot say I feel the same about that. That's interesting.
Because they just didn't. I mean, they kind of cared a little bit, but like, they knew the general story. And none of them are good. They're Russians. Like, all of them have, like, devastating. It's like, what
Oh,
happened to my
yeah.
mom? It's like, well, she was 14.
Yeah.
Got assaulted
You want to
by
go
her-
meet your mom? She's in a shack in
Yeah,
Siberia,
it's like, Jesus.
drinking vodka out of a coffee
Yeah,
mug.
Your mom's mutated from the nuclear fallout.
My daughter has come.
Yeah, so they didn't really care that much about. I mean, I'm sure they do, but in their eyes, it was always just like, and it was never different. That's the other thing is, it's like you think it's gonna be this whole, like, like I never thought of them as not my sisters.
Yeah, of course. It's what you were raised. It's like when you see videos of like cats and dogs and horses that were raised together, and they're like, "Yeah, you're my
I
brother."
don't think it's the same as that.
Sorry to call your sister
Yeah,
a
you're
horse.
calling my sister a horse?
Well, you could have been the horse.
My sister does train horses.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's pretty equine.
Yeah, she's a professional like horseback rider and trainer.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Crazy.
sick.
Yeah, it's sick. She's sick, dude. She's badass.
Dude, what do the other two sisters do? Because you have an atypical job. She
One's
has an
a
atypical.
dance instructor.
Okay, that's also atypical. What's the next one do? Like finance?
And the other one does, I don't know what she does anymore, but she used to be like an assistant to the district,
Attorney?
no, like the school board guy who's in charge of the district, whatever they're called.
Superintendent?
Superintendent. Yeah, she used to be like the assistant to the.
Okay.
Nice, good job. You know what? I can remove my fourth note about your podcast. It was help guess with words more, but it seems like you've got that on lock.
Thank you. Yeah, I do have that on lockdown.
Yeah, and then my brothers are an engineer. And
How many fucking siblings do you have?
5.
Okay, that's a lot.
I'm one of 6 kids. Yeah.
That's a lot. Where are you in the hierarchy,
Like the
age-wise? Okay.
So my mom had all 3 boys,
Uh
and then adopted 3 girls. My dad was also there.
huh. He's all. Don't get it wrong. He's there. That's a lot of fucking.
There's a
So
lot of
was there
kids.
like a? Because with me and my brother, I have a twin, and then I have an older sister, and it was
You have a
always
twin
like,
brother?
It was always like me and my brother, not identical. That's everybody. Whenever they're like, you have a twin, then it's like it's not another me. Don't worry.
Man, that was gonna get me pretty rock hard.
I know, dude. Everybody is like
2 of yous walking
oh,
into a place.
yeah,
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. No, he's
My nuts are full.
my balls have lots of cum.
Yeah.
No, but we would always gang up on my sister. So was it like, did you have like a civil war of like guys versus girls when you were younger? 3v3?
No, not really. Cause like my oldest sister, she was 10 when we adopted her, so she's kind of like scared the shit out of us a little bit.
Sure.
Cause she was like hardcore.
Yeah, she
I
came
remember
in and
one
she was like,
time-
I am ready to crush
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah, like literally
What's
one
her name?
time.
Like Anastasia?
It's Natasha, but
Natasha.
I remember, or Natalia.
Natalia Romanov.
But literally one time we walked in and there was like something had happened. I can't remember what it was, and like a building had collapsed, and like 100 people died. And she comes in and she's like, "Oh, why so bad?" And we were like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "100 people, there's nothing."
Oh my
Like she was literally.
You're living with Stalin.
She was
dude.
like, "Why does anyone care?"
That's
She
crazy.
was like, "What big deal?"
1 death tragedy, 100 death statistic.
Yeah, it's just like, what problem? What problem?
And you're like, oh, Natasha's a cold bitch.
You were like, "Holy shit, this lady's."
That's not the horse trainer,
But
is it?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Uh,
Horse trainer
they're
has to
all
know.
they're all cool. It was just my brothers were never those kinds of guys either.
They're never what?
Like to pick on you. They were like, if anything, more like protective, like overly protective. My brothers were just never those kinds of. I mean, my brother like threw me down the stairs once, and
That's pretty
I
not
got in,
very
like, a
protective.
fight. I got in a fight with him a couple times, but like, generally speaking, it wasn't like. And they were so much. My oldest brother is like so much older than my younger sisters, because I have 2 younger sisters, and then everyone else is older than me. And my 2 younger ones were just so much younger than my brother that it's like, what is he gonna do? Kick their ass?
Yeah, it's true. Damn. That's a
So-
diverse.
All white.
It's not diverse at all. I mean, yeah, but she's Russian.
Made sure to keep them white.
Yeah.
My
True.
parents went, we gotta find some kids to adopt.
Your mom said, I have 3
let's-
white boys.
yeah.
Time to offset this with 3 white girls.
Yeah, they were like, we're gonna find them poor, and then somehow, coincidentally, they found the only poor white country. Just literally the only one.
We'll take a couple of those.
It's like them in South Africa. Did you hear about the Trump thing where he's like
Oh, God.
sent in a bunch of Afrikaans, like white guys from South Africa?
No.
Because he said they were being genocided.
Oh, my God. Oh, man.
And he was like, someone obviously was like, yo, what the fuck? And he was like, I don't care if they're white, black, or whatever's happening. I was like, you clearly
Yeah,
care.
it's,
You picked like maybe the only, if it is true, which it isn't, the only white genocide happening.
Yeah.
Like,
The smallest,
yeah,
most
contingency of
specific
people.
genocide.
And it's not even a genocide. It's basically they're getting their just desserts for apartheid.
Yeah, for all that really fucked up shit that they did for.
Yeah,
a
I guess they're being treated not the best, and people are like, "Yo, that's racist." That's
Trump's like, I will not stand for that.
yeah, it's like, what? You can't mistreat my whites.
No.
I gotta say though, the market crashing like that helped me
How so?
because I'm a cash boy.
Nice.
So I just bought.
Nothing happened to you.
And I bought a bunch of stock when it was down.
Nice.
I've
dude.
like already doubled my money.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah, it's kind of sick. I did my Warren Buffett because that's what he always says is like you buy when it's low.
Yeah.
That's how he made his career is basically through
And then didn't he only eat McDonald's like every day?
maybe, but he's fucking weird. He's one of those guys. He's actually one of my least favorite billionaires because
Really? I mean,
yeah,
come on.
for real.
Wow.
Because I hate a guy because he lives in the same house and drives the same car.
You hate when they're all humble and shit?
I hate that shit. Because I'm like, you're why. So you love to argue for Reaganomics, trickle down economics.
Mm-hmm.
You're why it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because it works on paper. Because on paper,
Well, everything
people,
works on paper.
Yeah, because on paper, people spend proportionally the same amount.
But he's not doing it. He's not putting in his part.
He's not spending his
He's
money.
not
It's like
giving
you got to
back.
go buying
Yeah.
ships and stuff.
He's
dude.
got to just being shopped till you drop
Yes,
every
you
day.
can't. That's why
Stimulate our economy.
Yeah, that's why rappers are really the only people that like understand the economy.
That's so funny, dude. That rappers are doing more. Rappers and retired NFL players are doing more for our economy than
For
any other
sure,
demographic.
For sure.
Yeah, that's true. They are spurring it.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's I always hated billionaires that were like, yeah, I just live the same life. It's like, fuck you.
Oh, I
dude.
would have a very different life.
And also, why did you stomp on all those throats if you're not even gonna use it?
That is true. Yeah.
It's like if you're a billionaire, you are a bad person.
Most
Period.
likely. Most likely. Most likely.
Almost 100%, because people act like, oh, they just fell into $1 billion. It's like that doesn't happen.
No.
People are like, oh, Bill Gates doesn't want to make all that money. It's like, yes, he did. Are you an idiot? He could give it all away or stop making money.
Yeah.
He chose to make a bunch of money. Let's not pretend like he did. He chose to make a bunch of money.
But did you hear about how he used to like reprogram his classes so he got put with more girls?
No, but that's
Doesn't
awesome.
that kind of humanize him a
That's
bit?
kind of sick.
Now you're kind of like, all right,
I like to know that he's a sexual deviant as well.
it humanized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, when like Jeff Bezos wore the cowboy hat going to space,
Yeah, hilarious.
you're like, all right, maybe there's
What a
something here
nerd.
I can like.
What a nerd. I do love nerds, though, so, like,
Well,
I
yeah,
get it.
it's the
I'm
problem
cool.
is that the nerds are now, they're getting their revenge.
Yeah, now they're all going to rape a chick. Did you ever see Revenge of the Nerds?
Mm-hmm.
He just straight up rapes that lady.
I don't remember that. I watched it when I was in like third
He,
grade.
like, tricks a lady into fucking him because she thinks it's her boyfriend.
I guess that is the ultimate, like ascending into the jockdom.
He's
Is
assaulting
being
women.
able to assault a woman and get away with it. He's like, I can make as much money as I want. This is how I know I've actually gotten away with it.
That's funny.
Damn.
No, yeah, I just never really I like people that ball,
What do you mean?
like ball out, buy stuff.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, my roommate makes like 4 times as much as I do a year, and he just doesn't really do anything with it, and it actually pisses me off. And meanwhile, I'll get a new tailor, but he just got fitted for a custom set of golf clubs, and I'm like, thank you, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have some fun with. You're
Yeah,
gonna
buy
die
a
one
watch,
day,
buy a
bro.
watch, dude.
Just
Send
come
him
on.
my way. I'll hook him up with some sick watch ideas. You should buy a
Absolutely.
watch.
Yeah, I have all. Dude, I like Tom Segura's old stand-up because he used to have a joke about how he would sit in hotel rooms and look at private jets, and he would
Yeah.
like sort high to low.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "I'm never gonna afford that," and now he can afford that.
This is what your roommate should buy, dude. It's called Vortic watches. Look them up. Vortic watches.
Vortic watches. Shout out Vortic watches.
Shout out Vortic. They're made in.
I'm gonna get the most expensive Garmin when I make it. In
They're
20
made
years.
in.
We're live. You got to perform.
Sorry, they're made in Colorado. But what they do is they take like old pocket watches from like the 1800s and turn them into like a modern watch. So that's a pocket watch from like whatever. They're all like American-made pocket watch brands from the 1800s. And
Yeah,
then they
that's
just
pretty
turn 'em
sick.
into dope
They're
watches.
only like $5,000.
Yeah, they're not that bad actually for what they are.
My mom.
Sorry for doing
No,
phone,
it's okay.
but I had to see
my
it.
mom had or still has maybe, a Rolex that she bought when she got married. I think that might have been like the engagement gift or something like that. I think she bought it. I don't know. But I just remember when I was little, I was like, that's such a ridiculous amount to spend on a watch. Because it's like we were like doing well, but we're not like rich. And she was sort of like, yeah, but I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. And I want a Rolex. I got one. And I was kind of like, respect.
Yeah, that's
Respect.
pretty sick.
Dude, the lesson of buy nice, not twice is something that I worked with this lady, Ann McHugh. Shout out Ann McHugh. Family friend. She's an attorney. And I remember she's wealthy. And I remember in high school when I got my first girlfriend, the first question she asked me, she was like, is she wealthy? Or her parent, do they have money, Harry? She's like, that's what matters, Harry. You get a woman with money. Okay?
That's pretty sick.
You get a woman with money. But I remember I was painting houses with her, and she got the most expensive paint. And I was like, why are you getting the most expensive paint? And she looked at me and she said, only a rich man can afford cheap paint. Because you have to keep buying it and keep applying it. And I was like, yo, that's a sick quote.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't have any money. But one day I'm going to have expensive paint.
I got some nice watches.
Got to get Benjamin Moore.
That's what I spend. I probably
Really?
have more money spent on watches than anything else.
I guess if shit goes south, you can sell them. Right?
Yeah. Well, one of them was a gift from my father.
My father.
My father. And then also I've spent a bunch of money on drum gear. Of like thousands of dollars worth of fucking drum gear.
I could see how that could accumulate.
Because I have 3 different drum sets.
Mm-hmm. Damn, dude. Yeah, when I watch guys on YouTube that do guitar tutorials, it just always boggles my mind that in every video there's a different guitar, and they're all like Martins and Taylors and Gibsons, and I'm like, so this is everything. This is crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. My boss's guitar collection is out of control.
How many?
No idea. I mean, he's got hundreds of guitars.
Okay, that's insane.
Because he's been sponsored by different brands, and he's always bought them forever.
But I mean, that's
And
his
so
life.
he's bought guitars since he has some guitars that are worth like $50,000
That's so cool.
because he bought it in like '72.
Yeah. Guitars. When I was in the guitar music exchange or the Chicago Music Exchange, you always look at like the oldest fucking guitar on the wall, and you're like, how much does that piece of shit cost? And then it's like $18,000. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
It's the first one.
Well, that's the only problem with electric pickups. Some people don't like in acoustics.
It's not OG.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. It reduces how much they can appreciate and value.
But I don't care. I'm keeping that forever.
Yeah.
So
So it doesn't matter.
yeah, who gives a
And
shit?
you can always replace them. People just sometimes don't. It doesn't really matter, but
I told myself, because I bought my first guitar off of storage for $40, and I played that for like 4 months before I got this one. And I told myself, and I told my roommate, I was like, when I get my new guitar, I'm gonna break the other one, and I'm gonna like film myself fucking up on a song and then just smashing this guitar.
yeah.
Just because I've always wanted to experience the feeling of smashing a guitar
pretty
like
fun.
that. And now I can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Now I open the old case and I look at it and I'm like, we went through so much.
Yeah, just go buy a shitty guitar from like a thrift store and do it. I've done it. It's fun.
It means less though. I didn't go through the trenches with it.
Yeah, but that seems like a dark approach.
It has to be dark. I'm a starving artist.
Anything you go through the trenches with, you destroy.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna
all
drive.
of your friends that stuck by you through the hard times, you just immediately destroy
I
them.
murder them.
Yeah, that seems crazy. You're a crazy person. That's an
Yeah.
insane thing to do.
I want to feel pain.
Yeah, you're nuts. After this
Sometimes
podcast,
it's
you're
just-
just gonna go yell in your room.
Nice to feel things. I've yelled so loud. Dude, one time on stage, I asked the crowd, I said, have you guys ever screamed so loud that you scared yourself? And everybody was like, no. Dude.
You thought it was gonna be
Yeah, I thought everybody
relatable.
was gonna be like, yeah, we've all done that. At the lacrosse game yesterday, and this never fails to make me laugh, is when you watch the high school games, which I'm always there. You see the respective.
I'm always.
You see the respective 30 minutes early. You see the respective huddles, And there's always the one kid like hyping up the rest of his team. And dude, yesterday for Caitlin's team, this little kid was like, "I don't care. I don't give a fuck about this team. We're gonna murder them. We're gonna kill them." And the other moms of the other team were like, "Oh my god." It's like a 15-year-old saying we're gonna murder them. It's like none of them are that good at lacrosse. It's so intense, and I'm just laughing because it's so intense. And I'm like, you guys, this just doesn't matter.
Well, and also you don't realize, like, I used to give speeches in high school on the football team.
You were the speech guy?
I was the captain.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember just, like, I think back to that, and I'm like, dude, there was probably so many dudes on the team just like, dude, Ryder's so fucking gay.
That's
like,
the dude, yeah.
Especially because in high school I used to drink, like, when I would play.
Oh, my God.
So I would, like, get drunk to play games.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Probably numbs you a bit.
Yeah, and I would just be like yelling drunk. I'd just be drunkenly like,
You're like
we're gonna get these motherfuckers. The rest of my team's just like, Jesus.
It's about honor.
Yeah,
It's about respect.
Yeah, I'm just fucking hammered.
Yeah, you're a hammered 16-year-old.
I'm like halfway through a bottle of moonshine by myself. Just, I remember one time we were playing a game and I was like known because I was really small, but I played offensive and defensive line, and I was just dirty as hell.
Nice.
Like, I would just headbutt people and punch them and all
Sounds
sorts
right.
of shit. And I remember one time, because they'd always put me on the biggest guy, just because I'd fuck them up. And I remember one time we were playing, and everyone's like, "What are you doing? That number," like yelling at their teammate, like, "That number 55 is tiny." And the guy just looks at him and goes, "I'm pretty sure he's drunk." Because I was just like, you could smell my breath. He was like, "I don't know what to do. I'm pretty sure the kid's drunk."
No way.
And I heard him just go, "Fuck you," like from across the line.
That's the title of this episode. I'm pretty sure he's drunk.
Yeah, dude.
Just locked it in now.
Nuts.
Dude, I was a captain on my high school and my college team, and I was like the worst at giving speeches.
Oh, really?
I remember I would try like after like weightlifting sessions sometimes be like,
"Oh, no.
and this is important stuff that we're doing, and family on 3. Once we like it was so bad.
rough.
I was not a Captain America captain. I was the captain that like everybody voted as a captain just because it was like Harry's a responsible kid, and he'll make the right decision. It wasn't like I would go to war for Harry.
Yeah, no, mine I think was much more of a just I had played the longest. I was a senior and I
The longest and the drunkest.
yeah, well, and I played varsity since sophomore year.
Nice.
I played
big.
free safety.
Oh, you went from free safety to defensive line?
Yeah, to D end and left guard.
That's a wild
I was
change.
pissed. Yeah, we got a new coach, and I was supposed to be the running back. I had been training 3 years of high school.
Cut to you doing like
to become,
Saquon Barkley training over the summer.
to become the running back, because
Yeah.
that was the whole plan, is that I would be the new running back or a slot receiver. And then I showed up, and he's just like, "Actually, I want you to play line." And I was like, "Dude."
He probably got it right.
I was like, "You fucked me, bro."
Yeah, you go from a lot of glamour to I'm getting drunk
Yeah,
every
I'm gonna
game
get
now.
drunk and fuck some dudes up.
That guy changed your life.
Yeah.
If
he
you were
sucks.
a wide receiver in high school, it might have gone to your head.
I'd probably be in the NFL.
Probably right now.
If he had let me play slot, dude, that's my
You'd probably
spot.
still be in Chicago.
I'd be Wes Welker.
Bro, don't even get me started on Wes Welker. Wes Welker was my favorite player before Tom Brady was my favorite player.
He's the
Because I was a little kid and I was always like,
white saviors.
but then for the brand. But then fucking Wes Welker dropped that pass in the fucking Super Bowl on like 2nd down and 11, and then fucking fucked over the team, and I couldn't ever forgive him for that. I just remember
Who's your team?
Patriots,
Really?
which doesn't make any sense.
No, that doesn't.
It's
make
literally because
Where are you from?
Jersey.
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. We technically don't have a team
I guess. I mean, what are you gonna do? Be a Jets fan? Fuck that.
or a Giants
Giants fan?
Well, so the
Fuck
problem
that.
is, when I was young, I
You should
remember.
have gone with the Steelers.
So I was gonna say that in 08 when the Steelers won, everybody was a Steelers fan, and then everybody was an Eagles fan when they won, and then a Giants fan when they won, and then there was always this small contingent of Jets fans that were always miserable, and then I chose the Patriots, and the only reason I chose the Patriots was because I didn't even watch football. And then in like '08 when the undefeated Patriots lost to the Giants, that was like the first football game I watched all the way through, and I saw Brady like sitting at like with his head down, and I was like, I'm riding with that guy. I had no idea that they were the best team ever, and that I had just chosen to ascend
the easiest
upon a
bandwagon,
dynasty. Yeah, but so then I got so much shit in school because of it, because every other kid hated the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
So like anytime the Patriots would win, they're like, you're a fake fan, but all this shit. And I remember I told my friend who's a Jets fan, I said, Will, I will be a Patriots fan when they are as bad as the Cleveland Browns. I promise you. And he said that's not true. And literally like 2 years ago, the Patriots had a worse record than the Cleveland Browns. No, we're
piece of shit.
No, we're a little estranged.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Unfortunately, he was my first best friend.
That's usually how it goes with first best friends.
Yeah, my second best friend is still he listens to the pod.
My first best friend died.
Rip.
Yeah.
What happened?
They don't know. His heart just like exploded. He like ran a marathon and then died. Like,
at the end?
Night. Like that night.
Oh,
No,
God.
like that night he went to sleep and just didn't wake up. It was crazy.
Well,
Really
that's
sad.
extremely tragic.
It was super
How old
sad.
was he?
Like he was a year older than me, and this must have been 4 or 5 years ago.
I'm sorry about that. That's
It's all right.
that's heavy.
We were kind of estranged at the time.
Oh, okay. I don't care at all then. No, I'm kidding. That's super fucked up.
It was crazy. It was
To have
wild.
someone your age have that happen to them. That's
Yeah,
your
there's a
friend.
few people like there used to be this song, it's kind of a gay song, but I used to love it, by this band General Fiasco. They like kind of do pop rock stuff. Sorry, my feet banging is probably
okay.
not great.
We've been yelling.
And yeah. And
My neighbors already hate me so much.
they do a song called The Age You Start Losing Friends.
Uh-huh.
And theirs isn't about friends dying,
Just-
but it did strike me recently because I'm 28 now.
You heard a French horn?
Yeah, I've heard a French horn and cried. No, I finally got to the age where it's like I have like a fair number of friends that are dead.
Jesus,
And it's
dude,
weird
what
when
the
you
fuck?
get to that age of like,
Yeah,
oh,
you're still
whoa.
young. That should not be the case.
Well, I have like probably 5 or 6,
That's a lot.
but I have a lot of friends.
It's the cost of being extremely popular.
Yeah, when I was in high school, a kid like fell off a mountain. That's how he died. It was crazy.
That is crazy.
He
Skiing,
like got
snowboarding?
drunk. No, like camping, and he just literally walked off a cliff.
That's
And they didn't find his body for like a week because it like went down the river.
That's fucked up.
He was a great kid too. He was a good kid.
Fuck.
Yeah, that one was pretty nuts.
There was a girl in my high school whose dad died hunting, and they couldn't find him because he was wearing camouflage.
For real? That's hilarious.
They did eventually, but
Was it actually because of the camouflage?
no, I might have made up the last part, but
Because I was like, that's awesome.
yeah.
If he's all camouflaged out and they just like couldn't find him, like dead in the woods.
He was so good at what he did.
Yeah, he was so good,
Dude, my roommate one night in college, I came home and he just had like 20 beer bottles in front of him, and I walked in, I said, "Whose friend died?" And then the next day he was like, "My best friend from high school died." So let that be a lesson. I'm such a jackass.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember in college I lived with, because there's this thing that happens. It's kind of like with Catholics, where if you're like Muslim and you get out, you just are a piece of shit.
Mm.
And this dude was like his parents were like immigrants from Pakistan or whatever. And I remember one time I came home and he was just like in our doorway, passed out, like curled up like this, kind of with the door open, just sitting there. Bugs are crawling in and out, whatever. And I remember I woke him up. I'm like, "What's wrong? Like, are you okay?" And he was like, "Ugh, "I'm just doing horrible, man." I was like, "Oh, why? What happened?" He's like, "I gotta see." Just like,
Bro.
I was like, "I gotta see, so I have to black out." I was
Oh
like,
my
"I think you have a
God.
problem and you're making up excuses." But he set it up to be like that. Like that's what I was expecting. He was like so sad, and I knew his dad was sick, so I was like, "Oh shit!" Like it
the time has come, and then it's
And
you
then
gotta
he's just
see.
like, "I gotta see."
And then
I
his
was like,
dad dies, and he's like, he never gave a shit about me.
I don't think he was a big fan of his dad, if I'm being honest.
I mean, that tracks with the whole being upset over the C thing.
Well, and being
Yep.
like a Muslim who's no longer practicing, you tend to not. Love your parents.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
Yes, that'll happen.
I thought about being. I almost went to what's it called, priest school.
No way.
Yeah,
I could see you as a
Like I
priest.
seriously thought about it for a while when I was a senior in high school.
What dissuaded you?
I just realized that I wasn't that Christian, and it seemed unfair.
Yeah, that's a pretty big step. Did you just like the outfit?
No, I liked it. I'm a big proponent. My thing is I think I would adapt too much of the Bible to my own beliefs, which is like not really that chill.
I mean,
Like I would just very much be like, yeah, we can ignore those chapters.
So you like how it should be
Yeah,
interpreted?
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, yo, this is the Bible, I'd be like, yo.
It's kind of like riffing on it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna do a Spark Notes, and that's how I teach.
I think people would appreciate that.
I Spark Notes the Bible, and now I'm a pastor. Yeah, I liked it. It helped me a
Sam
lot
Kinison.
when I was in high school. That and like meditation. I used to be really big into meditating, and
Do you still?
no, sadly, I should get back into it. It's good for you, but yeah, I got like really into meditation and things like that. And I remember I had a friend who used to do like silent retreats. My friend Colin, my best friend, just did one like
To
a year
where?
ago. Did like a week-long silent retreat.
What does that mean? Just he doesn't get to talk?
Can't talk for like a week.
I don't think I could do that.
That's what I said.
I would fuck
Yeah,
up. Just
yeah,
not even
okay.
on purpose.
The craziest part is I guess they didn't let you have a notebook either.
What the
Because
fuck?
they were like, you need to be thinking, like in
You
your
can
own
think and
mind.
write.
That's what I'm
You're just
saying.
transcribing your
But
thoughts.
he just snuck in a notebook.
Oh, okay,
He
good.
was like, fuck that, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have a notebook.
Fuck that. I assume no phone as well.
Yeah, no phone, of course. He's a writer, though, so...
Does he have any books?
No, he does, like, short stories, and he's the lead singer for my metal band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Silent retreat, I definitely could not do. I talk to myself a lot. So just like waking up in the... Dude, I walked
Oh,
outside
yeah.
yesterday and I literally went, oh! Just because the weather was so nice.
Yeah, it was so nice yesterday,
I mean, it's beautiful today, too.
I know.
I think I'm going to go for a walk, get my hair cut after this.
Nice. I gotta get a haircut bad. My hair's nuts. I'm talking to someone about that when my grandpa died. My mom's dad, which is where you get your hair. I was making fun of a bald friend of mine,
As we all do.
of course, and they had to actually, the guy who like dressed the mortician had to thin my grandpa's hair.
Whoa.
Like, 'cause they give you a haircut.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, sometimes they'll give you a haircut.
It's too thick.
His hair was too thick.
That's really sick.
Dude.
That's what my mom always tells. She would literally, like, growing up, she would always tell me and my brother, because my mom has super thick hair, and she would always be like, you guys are set for life for hair, don't worry. But then in college, I stressed out so much my senior year that my hair started falling out.
Really?
So I take finasteride now.
What's finasteride?
Just like Propecia.
Really?
Yeah.
If you didn't, would you be balding? I
I think I'd be fine. But I freaked out in college. I had like an episode. It was after I broke my hand, and then I had to write a screenplay and a book for my senior year, and I had no idea what I was gonna do after college. I just knew I wanted to do stand up, and I would just look in the mirror and just be like, "You're going bald. You're going bald." And I have like a full head of hair. Like, look, like I literally have. I would convince myself. I would look in the mirror every single day and be like, "There goes more." But, dude, because of that, I would have clumps of hair fall out in the shower.
Yeah, what is
And
that
then I
term
would-
that
I would
white
look it
ladies
up.
love? What's the term white ladies love where you make something
Manifesting?
happen? Yeah, you manifested going bald.
I actually did, and I looked it up, and you can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
It was like, do you have extreme stress? And I was like, maybe.
It's hilarious.
And then it's funny because I remember I like
hilarious.
I went on vacation with my friends. I was literally losing my hair every single day. I went on vacation with my friends for 2 weeks, and I just didn't think about it. And I just remember after I was like, oh, I kept all my hair. And I just immediately after that, I was like, oh, I just have to not stress about it.
That's so awesome to just be like, you're going bald. You're a fucking crazy person.
Yeah.
You have some insane. You gotta get it sorted.
Well, I mean, how?
I don't know. You could start by not going to high school lacrosse games anymore.
I have to. They pay me $250 a game.
That's actually really nice.
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty fire.
Pretty fucking good.
What'd you go to college for?
Digital media with a concentration in screenwriting.
Oh, have you ever written a script?
Yeah. I can show you my... It's the camera. Still have the audio.
Oh.
I can show you my screenplay right now.
Yeah.
I'm on my 5th draft of it.
What's it about? Give me the pitch.
We should end the pod. I'm serious. Like, I can't tell you on there.
You can't tell me the pitch?
It sounds so stupid, and I've pitched it to a couple people on air because they ask about it, and I just...
Oh, you keep pitching it on the podcast, so you don't want to do it?
I keep deleting it from the pod. I always delete it because when I pitch it, I'm like, it sounds stupid.
Well, of course it sounds stupid. Everything pitch sounds stupid.
It's called the Operation Albatross. It's about a group of friends, like recent college graduates, and they discover how much money you can make from like diving for golf balls and reselling them, and they'd like discover this like underworld, this like maniacal underworld that's almost like selling drugs, but it's golf balls, and it's like super absurd but also really dark, and there's like betrayal and backstabbing and
That
murder.
sounds sweet. That
And,
doesn't sound stupid at all, buddy.
It's a limited series, 5
You are
episodes,
going
like
bald, though.
Queen's Gambit.
Fuck!
I have good news and bad news.
Yeah, I have good news and bad news. That sounds
Yeah.
sick, but you are definitely going bald.
Yeah.
I had a friend that did that, like growing up. He
What?
would go find golf balls. You can make a shit ton of money.
I know. I did.
reselling
I've
them.
done. I've been writing this since my senior year of college.
Yeah, he would go out and he would like pick them all up and then he would sell them like in egg cartons to people. He'd make like a couple $100 every time.
You'd make a lot of money, dude. A perfect condition, perfect condition Titleist, you can resell for $2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 20 of those.
And like so the screenplay is like the main character is a programmer, but but he's like a degenerate gambler, and the only reason he
Sick.
gambles is because he just wants to feel something.
Sick.
And then he like discovers the golf ball thing, and it's like something that's like it's a huge gamble.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's called Operation Albatross is because the odds of an albatross is like 1 in 6 million.
Yeah.
And so he just like his entire life basically disintegrates following this, and he's like he lies to his girlfriend about what he's doing. He gets fired from his job at one point because of it. And then it's just like this snowball of lies and lies and lies until like the friend group starts eating each other alive. And then one of them finds out that their dad was murdered by him to get his inheritance, and that's how they're funding this whole venture. And 2 of them know about the murder, and they're sweeping it under the rug, and the other 3 don't know, and then they all find out, and then another guy that's doing this, there's like a rival gang.
That's nuts. That
Yeah,
sounds cool.
It gets nuts.
Yeah, don't downplay it. It sounds cool.
It's hard to explain though.
You just did it.
Yeah, but like you need a log line. You
I'm
need, like,
pretty
an
sure I
elevator
get
pitch.
the whole thing.
Yeah. No, you have no idea. There's some secret stuff.
No, I think I pretty much got it.
And dude, there's gonna be
I think I could write it
there's
at
gonna-
this point.
it would be interesting to see what you with just
my
that.
attempt.
So I wrote a book too my senior year, and I'm gonna you know how like Stephen King it's like a Stephen King universe. So I'm gonna have like a Harry Meredith universe. So the character from my book will be in the screenplay.
That's
And there's
cool.
gonna be a scene where all the friend group like crashes a wedding at a really nice golf course, and they're like crashing the wedding to get into the golf course so that they can dive for balls. And the stand-up comedian from my first book is gonna be like having a hell gig at that wedding,
Oh, that's
and they're gonna fucking interact with him.
Yeah, we kind of did that for my metal band because it's called Dropship. So there's like, it's very like sci-fi fantasy oriented spaceships. And so what we're doing with the artists for all the merch is we're having artists with their own like world. So it's like this artist
That's
and then
sick.
a line of merch with all their
It's like a
kind of
universe.
cool art. Yeah, and then a whole
Dude, I think I
different-
saw your poster. Did you hang those up around the city?
No, but someone might have.
I'm pretty sure I saw one on Ashland.
You
And then
probably did.
You
We're
posted on
playing
Instagram,
with, like-
and I was like, I swear to God, I've seen that.
Yeah, we're playing at the West Chicago Social Club like in
Yeah.
2 weeks.
That was the poster.
Yeah, and so we're playing with like 3 other bands.
Your poster worked.
Yeah, it should be a really good show if you want to come. Should be fun.
When?
On next Saturday or Friday?
I work
something?
from 2 to 8 on Saturdays.
What do you do?
Climbing gym.
Oh, sweet. How's that?
That's good. I just made a funny video about it.
How long have it well, funny.
It was a comedy video. Well, I'm on the social media team now.
Oh, nice.
And so I've just recently had this epiphany. I've been like trying to like, they want a certain amount of videos every week, and like a lot of it's just easier to do like comedy stuff. And I've just been like writing and directing, but just like putting other people in my videos. And then I was just like, why don't I just do it myself? Because I know what I want.
Yeah.
And so I filmed the first video where I'm actually in it, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want. This is awesome. So I'm gonna do a video next week where I lock myself in the gym until I get a climb. And I'm gonna have a tent and like a sleeping bag,
Oh, that's fun.
and I'm gonna literally just like film the entire thing. And what I'm gonna do beforehand is I'm gonna watch Free Solo, and I'm gonna every time I'm like doing testimonials between the climb and like when I'm like struggling or something, I'm gonna directly quote Free Solo.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely do that. That's very funny.
I'm very excited about
That
it.
is very funny.
Dude, also me and Matt Calhoun next Wednesday are driving to, well, we might fly. We're driving to some random place that's like 6 hours away to pick up a crazy car that he impulse bought, and we're doing like a podcast.
What car did he buy?
He won't tell me. It's a surprise. But he said it's like insane.
I hope it's sick.
I think it's going to be.
I hope it's sick.
But we're going to podcast the entire thing.
It's all content.
I'm down to do anything that's retarded.
Everything must be content, dude.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I was me and Dan were thinking about starting a podcast.
Dosimo?
But then they moved.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is Dan gone?
Dan came. They didn't tell me. Like I went for
Don't you live with
I
them?
went but I went on tour for like a weekend, like a week and a half kind of thing. And I come back and Dan's just gone.
Holy shit.
I was like, Dan, what the fuck?
What do you say? What did they say?
They were like, oops. That's cool. We're good friends. They'll come back. I'll see them.
That's crazy. Would you ever move to New York?
No, I hate New York.
Damn.
I always say New York is a pile of garbage that everyone brags about how they live on such a nice pile of garbage. Everyone in New York is so uppity about their fucking shithole diarrhea city.
Yeah.
It smells like shit. There's trash in the streets.
But they're the best.
But it's the best
They
trash!
got the best.
The trash is the best!
Stinkiest trash.
Everyone's like, oh, they have the best corners, they have the best food and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, well, if you had a fucking, 30 million people, you would have pretty good food too.
I always think, what if you took every single person from, or I guess you'd have to ratio it out so it wouldn't be crazy, but if you took the same amount of people from New York and the same amount of people from Chicago and you just switched it, would Chicago become New York? Like, what makes the city? Is it the city itself, or is it the people in the city?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Do you think Chicago just instantly become like, hey?
Yeah. I think for a little bit, yeah. But I think
New York just becomes extremely nice.
yeah, but I think it would take like 2 generations and that would go away. Because it's not just
Oh, yeah.
It is about the people, but you got to think about the people moving.
I was going to say, like, the tri-state area.
Because like the reason
really-
Chicago's full of nice people is because it's full of people from the Midwest.
That's
The
true.
reason New York sucks and is full of shitty people is because it's all people
The
from
reason
the
New
East
York
Coast.
is the best is because it has the East Coast.
I hate New York, dude. I've never had.
It's no New Jersey, but it's good.
I don't like it. And I know that that's not what you're supposed to say as a comic, but I don't care. I would rather not be successful at comedy than live in New York.
I'll do both.
Legitimately.
I'm going to move to New York and still not be successful.
I hate it.
That's my plan.
Do you like New York?
It's got a real heartbeat. I mean,
It's okay to like New York. Donovan,
I'm from the
a bunch
East
of my
Coast,
friends
so
love it, so I get it. My cousin lives there, and I
I like
tell
how
him every day
alive
to
it
move.
is. My sister lives in New York. My mom commuted to New York every day for like 25 years. She worked in the building across the street from the World Trade Center.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dodge that bullet.
She was on honeymoon when Whoa.
What, did I gleek?
I think you did, dude. Also, how long have we been doing this?
Probably a long time.
I think.
Yeah, like 2.5 hours.
All right, yeah. We should probably end soon.
Yeah, we can end.
Do you want to? Oh, dude, I sweat so much.
Yeah, me too.
Do you want to say anything to the people?
No.
Sign off.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks
All
for
right,
having me,
goodbye,
buddy.
everybody.